O Show. This is the Big 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 O Show. This is...
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Radio Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated. They offer free 30-day storage, full service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them.
With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation.
Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house!
Get out of the house! Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
Viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty. Thank you all. Thank you all out there for being very patient with us. Appreciate you all out there. Appreciate Sean Stanley and appreciate all of the insiders adjusting. I had a doctor's appointment today. I had to they had a late cancellation because I have an operation coming with my foot. As I told you guys, I have that issue with my foot and I got to get an operation. So I've got to get, like, when you're like like a heart patient, all that, you got to get like all kinds of clearance before you get any procedure going on your ass. You know what I'm saying? So they called for a cancellation and I was like, all right, yeah, would they slide us in there so I can get because I got an operation on February 6th for my foot. Because it's not a good thing right now. My foot is not in a good place, overall. So hopefully after they shave that stuff off, because I've got like these, this growth, and it's going right through a tendon of mine. So it's not a good feeling, those tendons that control the toes. Well, it's like stabbing one of those tendons. So it's not a lot of fun. You know what I'm saying? And then they found like another bone spur that's like right by my Achilles, which apparently it's 5 times more likely for me to blow out my Achilles. So they're going to shave that off too in the same procedure. So I'm going to have that on the 6th. But before I do all that, I got to go through blood work. They got to check my heart. They got to check everything. And so apparently I lost 4 more pounds, by the way, because they weighed me today. So it's nice. Lost 4 more pounds. So that's actually good. Hopefully we can continue on the pace and continue to lose. He was really happy that my sugar level went down, which is very important. So that's why today I had to delay the show and start a little later. We got a loaded show for you today. I didn't do a lot of prep, so I'm not going to have a ton of things to talk about, to be quite honest, but we will have a ton of people to talk to because we got Cameron Wolf coming up. Then we'll have Manny Navarro at the top of the hour, followed by Ira Winderman, since we have the Terry Rozier trade. And Ira was going to join us tomorrow, but because of what happened, Ira's going to join us today. So we'll talk about Terry Rozier. What a trade. What a great trade for the Heat, man. That's a really good move. And then David Furones will wrap it up. So we'll have a lot of interviews. And we'll have a couple Dolphin reports, a Heat report for you, a Canes report for you. So we'll keep you pretty much, hanging in there. I'm feeling good. I appreciate all of you out there. I feel great, by the way. I have no issues whatsoever. It's just some calcium, build up in one of my, like where your foot goes, like the top of your foot, right in the middle, like right in the middle of where you tie your laces, like right in the dead center there, your foot has like these separations, right? In one of the separations, I have two peaks that have grown out of each one of them, and the two peaks are meeting up, and then they're stabbing the tendon. So I feel good physically. I'm all right. The foot's fine as long as I don't put weight on it. Once I have to walk or stand, pain, discomfort, all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those deals, but I'm fine. It's not a big deal, and it's not a huge surgery or anything like that. It's one of those outpatient deals, and it's small incisions and all that. So it's nothing major. So I appreciate all of you out there as always. No need to freak out. We'll get through this shit like nothing, man. You know what I mean? So I am not worried whatsoever about it. But hey, man, apparently they told me it was. He says it happens from a lot of jumping, and I played a lot of basketball when I was young. So that's probably what it is. But it took 57 years to, So it's not too bad, right? I guess if it took 57 years for it to actually like be really bad for me. So not too bad. So we'll be all right. We'll hang in there and we'll get it done. Okay. Shang Tu Sheng. Oh, Bitcoin is making me worried. No. Bitcoin's making me happy. Do you know what you're doing? Shang Tu Sheng? Do you know what you're doing? That's the question. You know what I mean? Have you been listening? We've filled you in completely on what's going on. Grayscale's dumping. They have 600,000 Bitcoin, and they are dumping at this moment because they're charging 1.5%. And their Bitcoin holding, and those were all locked in for years. So now they're all in profits, and they're all pulling their profits out, and they're moving their money to other ETFs, BlackRock, all that kind of stuff. More Bitcoins being bought than being sold. But the problem is you have the ones being sold by Grayscale, right? As those customers get out of the Bitcoin trust and they get into a Bitcoin ETF. And so that process, this is why we have this dip right now, because we're in that process of people going out of the trust, and then they're going to go back in to the ETF. Now, the ETFs are flying. The miners have sold some, and then people like you that get nervous and don't have strong hands, you get, you're soft and you end up selling. And because you don't do your homework, you understand? So it's just one of those things. As I told you, this could go on for another week or two or three, maybe even three. I don't know. I think maybe at least a couple weeks. I heard somebody say yesterday that it could go on for 4 or 5 more weeks. I kind of smiled when I said that, because then now you're going to get me into the mid-30s again, which is fantastic. See, the one thing that you will regret is that the next time Bitcoin goes up, it will be a parabolic run. It will be one that will catch you by surprise, because it's going to run big, huge. It's going to go crazy. Not a financial advisor, but that's what's going to end up happening once Grayscale's done and those customers are done getting out of the Bitcoin trust. Then you're going to start seeing it the other way, because thousands of Bitcoins are being taken off the exchange every single day. Problem is, it's being countered by what's going on with Grayscale, and then the miners are selling right now. As I've explained already a couple of times, the miners are also selling, and so then that's creating this dip that you have here, because the miners have to sell now so they can have money for this bull run, and they can pay for their expenses, because they know the Bitcoin they're going to mine over the next year is going to be worth a hell of a lot more than the Bitcoin they just are selling now. So that's what's going on now. But I get it. Listen, for those of you that don't follow this, you don't know anything about it, you're it's just one of those things. And anybody that is a real investor and you follow this is a chance of a lifetime. That's all. This is a chance for you to keep adding cheaper Bitcoin before you will never be able to add this Bitcoin ever again. One, it may not even exist anymore down the line. And two, the prices are going to be somewhere where it's not even affordable for the average person. And that's what's going to happen now that the big boys are getting in, the real big money's getting in. Bitcoin's going to disappear. So, it's just, this is probably the last washout for all the altcoins, for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, whatever it is. This is your last chance if you're able to lower your average. Even with this dip, I can't lower my averages. The only thing I'm lowering my average on is on kryptonite. I've been able to lower my average. Man, Pendle has been so strong. It will not go down. I got some more Shido because Shido was over a penny. It went to 1.2 cents and it went back down to 9/10 of a penny again. And I got more Shido. So yeah, some of that stuff. So yeah, it's just up to you now. Whatever companies you like, if now the dip allows you to lower your average, that's when you get to, improve your investment. That's all. So on the way back, you're going to make even more money. That those of us that understand what's going on, we look at this like Fred Flintstone used to look at a brontosaurus burger, like Snoop Dogg looks at a joint. Okay. It's like Elon looking at another space station. You know what I'm saying? We're salivating right now is what we're doing. Okay? Salivating. And that's what's going on here right now. Let's do a little roll call. I see Lisa Rose is number 1. There we go. Steven Gonzalez in the house. True Fin fan. Let's see. Send Cam a reminder there, Sean, because Cam is half Cuban. Alexis, Josh is in. Tony Zags, Adam Pinkser. The Heat, getting younger, and they added a 3-point shooter too, Adam. They're a 2-point team in a 3-point world. I talk about that all the time. And so that's the one thing I like about it. They added another 3-point guy. John Santos is in. I'm always your corporate time-stealing weasel. I just have a chance to write something during my lunchtime. There you go. Kyle Lowry is gone. Yes, sir, Ray. Think Dodgers blue. Man of 1,005 holds. Alexis Palenzuela. Sneak Attack 305 is happy that Lowry's gone and enjoying these crypto dips. John Rouse is in the house. Lewis M. Let's see. Cap for Life. Yader Castro. Thank you, Yader. Akaris. Thank you. Jamie Zoria out in San Jose. Thank you, sir. He's hoping everybody has a great day. Brooklyn Rob says Kyle stole some money while he was here. He stole a lot of money, Brooklyn Rob. A lot of money, dog. A lot of money. All right. True Fin fan, Tony Zag, Skylar Timpton. Scary Terry hours in Miami. Yes, sir. Just when people called Riley cooked, it's just that, I don't know who's calling Riley cooked or whatever. Have they made mistakes like the one they just traded away? Yeah. But give me Riley every day of the week and twice on Sundays. I'm good with that. I told you, I'm riding and dying with Riley forever. I'll never do to Riley what we did to Shula. Never. Riley can go whenever the hell he wants to go. Okay? Upgrade for the Heat. How do you feel about it? I love it, Joseph. I think it's a fantastic move, dude. I hated the Kyle Lowry trade from the get-go. I never wanted it. Ever. So I'm not the phony that Try to say, oh, yeah, and then get all hyped about it, and then now I'm going to be, no. I stayed consistent. Either I was going to be wrong or I was going to be right, and I was dead on right about that one. That was a terrible freaking trade. I thought it was a stupid trade at that moment, and it was catastrophically stupid. Let's see. Rozier is banned from a certain strip club down here. He's pulling that John Morant. Luckily, they didn't make a big scene about it. His crew isn't influential. This just adds fuel to the fire. Well, just stay away from the strip club. That's all. What are you going to do, right? Young people and strip clubs. Shit happens. I was young once too, and you end up at a strip club. What the hell? What are you going to do? You know what you're going to do? You're going to make it rain. All right, let's unleash the wolf pack.
We unleash the wolf pack as we get the latest in the NFL and the Miami Dolphins with our KSDT CPA Pro Football Report with NFL Network insider Cameron Wolf. KSDT is one of South Florida's largest and one of the country's fastest growing accounting firms. KSDT CPA is a full-service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit them at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370. Here's NFL insider Cameron Wolf.
All right. And by the way, offices in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. They've also added an office in Charlotte, North Carolina. And like a lot of companies, they're hiring. So if you happen to be in this kind of a career, call the folks at KSDT CPAs. And we got tax season right around the corner. Call the folks at KSDT CPAs, 305-670-3370. And, of course, if you own a business, you need year-round guidance. Nobody better. Top 200 firm by Forbes, KSDT CPAs. How you feeling, my man? You thawed out already?
Yeah, I am. And I'll start just kind of off your promo there. KSDT obviously does our segment, but I also use them for my taxes. So, Yo Andre is the guy who does my taxes every year. It's about time for me to reach out. So they're good people. So I'd recommend them as well.
Dude, congratulate them when you call them.
Absolutely. Got another baby. Yeah.
They made him a partner.
Oh, congrats. I did not know that yet. I haven't talked to him in a little bit. And so congrats to Yo Andre. That's awesome for him. We got to get back on the golf course. Me and him play golf together. So he started doing my taxes and we started playing golf, and look at him, partner now, man. Soon enough, he won't be answering my calls. It'll be too big time for me.
Right. Yeah, good for him that he got the promotion, man. That's really nice. Good people there at KSDT CPAs. I'm telling you, very professional. If you want to get it done right, and make sure you reach out to them and tell them that we sent you, man. They're really, really good people. All right, let's get to it.
But I have thought out 2 weeks in Buffalo. I am glad to be back in the sun. Yeah, that's all I can say. I feel like my happiness has returned. People joke about it, but the happiness, the winter depression, I think is real. Like, I was only there for 2 weeks, and I'm like, man, it's hard to smile on a day-to-day basis if you're just looking at snow and darkness. But I'm happy to be back in 75 degrees South Florida. Yeah.
Yeah, and no surprise that Pat Mahomes does Pat Mahomes things. And I know it helps that the kicker choked, and it was a Scott Norwide moment once again for the Buffalo Bills. Those of us that lived it and watched them obviously lose that Super Bowl with Scott Norwide, or Norwood is really his name, but we call him Norwide because of that. But anyway, so that was how was that? How was the emotions, and how was that building? How was the atmosphere after all of that? Because, dude, the memes and the videos of crying Bills fans and all that stuff was out there.
So it's crazy. I'll take you into it from my view, because I'll just be real. That crowd was rocking. They were pretty intense for that game. They said it was their home field advantage, and you felt it. I was walking the field, and they were yelling some things at Chris Jones that I probably wouldn't yell at my worst enemy. It's a pretty brutal fan base. I don't think I've heard some of the things I heard being yelled before at a game, and it was pretty electric. But when I walked on that field, I walked on the field about the 2-minute mark, and I was standing on the sidelines as they missed that field goal. And I never heard 65,000 people sound like a library before. It was like you could hear nothing. Like I probably could hear the huddle of on the field from the sideline. It was how quiet it was. You could just feel the pain of like, here we go again. Like we felt like this was our year. We're at home. We're hot. Mahomes has got quote unquote his worst offense of his era. Like this is our time. And it wasn't. They ran into Patrick Mahomes yet again. He's their Achilles heel. And I think it almost like walking out and kind of hearing Bills fans is almost like they almost gave up. It's like, man, if we can't get him now, when are we going to get him? You know, and you see him running off the field. Patrick Mahomes running off the field. They're throwing snowballs at him. Like it's not a great look for them. It's just kind of like you could feel the pain, the anger. It just I'll put it this way, and I know Brandon Beane, their general manager, is talking today. It felt like the end of this current iteration of the Bills. Like, yes, they'll have Josh Allen. I'm sure they'll retool, and he'll get another run at it. But it felt like of this current run with this current roster at the peak, it felt like, to me, they accepted, like, hey, this was maybe our last rock at it. You know, that they're probably, with their cap situation, they're probably going to have to go young. They're probably going to have to release or let go or, let people sign new contracts for a lot of their older veterans, their best players. And because of that, they may have to take a step back. I don't know if that's my end or your end, but they have to take a step back. And so the Dolphins have some cap situations themselves, so they'll have a tough offseason. But you essentially have the top two teams in the AFC East essentially knowing they've got to get younger. And for the Bills, I think it's even more extreme because most of their best players on defense are 30 plus.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the Dolphins. Well, it'll get harder for them in a year or two. This year, they'll have plenty of ways of getting under. I think that's a little overblown for this season. Mm-hmm. It'll start getting a little harder down the line. They have so many ways of opening up cap space right now that it's not going to be an issue at all now. But I know the Bills for sure.
Yeah,
it will definitely be an issue. I'll tell you something that I was wrong at, and a lot of people were wrong along with me, and maybe you were one of them. We said throughout the offseason and last year, oh, man, you guys got to stop allowing Josh Allen to run. This is stupid. He's taking all kinds of hits. Well, it comes to the problem is Brian Daboll knew exactly how to play him. And Ken Dorsey did not. Mm-hmm. And he tried to make him a pure pocket passer back there, and the turnovers and the inconsistencies were ugly. Joe Brady brought back the run game. Mm-hmm. And that's the only way that guy can play. He'll be able to throw some for you, but as you saw, as he missed a wide open guy in that game, he's not the passer that you keep in the pocket because it's just not his game overall. And I give Joe Brady a lot of credit. And for people like me out there that you were all out there saying, oh, this is really stupid that they well, guess what? That's the only way you can allow Josh Allen to play, because that's really the way you're going to get the best out of him. Because once Brady took over and brought the run game back, not just with the running backs, but with Josh Allen,
yep,
that's where their fortunes really turned, actually.
Absolutely. I think part of that is, one, like the Bills have not had a run game pretty much in the whole Josh Allen tenure. I think he's like, it's weird. Like him and Lamar have been the two quarterbacks who have like led their team in rushing, I think, more years than not since they've been the starting quarterback, which is a little bit more understanding for Lamar because he's rushing for almost 1,000 yards every year. But for Allen, I think it says more about the running back. So they finally trusted and got James Cook playing well. He was running the block really well. And what it does is it limits the amount of opportunities Josh Allen has to make a mistake, because like Josh Allen does a lot of special plays, but I think his biggest issue is play-to-play consistency, right? Like if you're having 40 passes, at least two or three, maybe up to 5 or 6, he's going to make a play, a turnover-worthy play, right, in a given game. like the consistency play to play. So if you decrease those 40 passes to 25 or 30, now you decrease your turnover worthy plays to maybe 1 or 2 a game. And so you saw even in this past game against the Chiefs, he didn't have any turnovers. And against the Steelers, he didn't have any turnovers. Like, that's their recipe of how can we minimize the chances he has to say. And when you minimize the chances, you also minimize the mindset of Josh of like, man, I've got to get this for us. I've got to be Superman.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Like, that's a natural innate. Like, I don't think they've tried to take it away from him. I don't think they can take it away from him. So the only way you can do that is to minimize his amount of times and make him feel like, hey, you can lean on the run game. It's not just you. And I think that'll be a big factor of their team going into 2024. I wouldn't be surprised if they went and got another running back to join James Cook and have like a 2-back system to try to get them to lean more on that run game. Yeah. Like to lean on that run game.
They like to come at you with 3-4 backs.
Absolutely.
The thing is that they get 3 or 4 backs injured every year. And so it's just kind of like, it's just they've had the worst luck the last couple of years with running backs. I mean, if you're a running back, it's a great place to go, but then it's a bad place to go because, you're going to run with Lamar. So you're going to have a killer running game, but bro, you're going to get injured because damn, dude, running backs get injured like crazy, and that's the funny part because now we've got, some silliness going on in town. Okay. Whether it's writers, whether it's radio people, whether it's television people, and they're all on this whole thing of, well, you got to have a mobile quarterback. Yeah. It's great to have a mobile quarterback, but the problem is you're looking at some of these guys that have to be mobile in order to be a quarterback. In other words, Lamar and Josh have to run in order to be effective. And then if you go look at what happened with Jordan and what happened with CJ, go look at the running game of both. Why do you think those young men were also having success? They were running more than they were completing passes because they were putting Jordan and CJ in positions where, kid, you only have to make a couple throws. We'll play defense. We'll run the ball, all that kind of stuff. And I think the problem is that some people out there that think, oh, you got to have a mobile. No, dude. What you got to do is have more balance in your offense. And I think that's what the Miami Dolphins have to get back to. Not back to, once and for all, have a true dedication to the running game so it really complements and set Tua up. But if you're going to be the reverse and you're going to put Tua and you think he's Marino or he's Elway or he's Joe Burrow or he's Mahomes, that you could just sit back there and have him throw 40 times a game, sorry, you're not coaching a gunslinger. So stop playing the gunslinging game. It's not so much about Tua having a run. It's about the team having to run. Agree or disagree?
I think so. I think what you want in an ideal situation is you want to be unpredictable. You want to be in a situation where you can both be unpredictable, but also be predictable and have success still. I think that was maybe the biggest issue here is that, number one, they found a way, especially early on and really throughout the season, to be successful running the ball when they were unpredictable. When it became a situation where they fell behind, they became one-dimensional, or it became an obvious run situation, that's where they struggled. And so they've got to figure out how to own the mentality of we're going to run the ball. We know you guys know we're going to run the ball, and it's not going to matter, right?
Like Seattle with Marshawn Lynch and those
absolutely.
days.
Absolutely. So that's
Eric Henry. You knew it was coming, and you're not, and that's why I say go get Derrick Henry.
So that's the next level, and part of that's a running back, part of that's offensive line. I think as much as we give credit to Butch Berry, and he deserves a lot of credit for lifting up the offensive line, I think there were probably limitations at their talent level overall that they had to overcome. That ideally you can find maybe a guard upgrade or two. Obviously you don't have your starting center. Liam played valiantly, but you still need upgrade at the interior of your offensive line. Rob Hunt was pretty good on that side. Austin Jackson played well, but and Kendall Lamb filled in good for Teron Armstead. But overall, as a bunch, I probably say they need to get better and more consistent as a run blocking group. And so those are things I would try to target in the offseason. Like maybe it's a Derrick Henry edition, but I would probably focus more on what can we do to solidify that offensive line so that we can do that. And then part of it's going to be on Mike McDaniel. Like, this offseason, I think he's going to do a lot of internal evaluation. And there's a lot of things he did really well. But we've talked about some of the game management questions, and I think he'll evaluate that. And I also want to see him figure out, like, in game, when we struggle to run the ball early, how can I stay consistent to it? How can I not maybe fall in love with the trap of we have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle? And so if the first 2 drives we can't run the ball, I'm just going to go away from it, right?
Derrick Henry.
Maybe, but that's a mindset thing, not as much as I don't even know if Derrick Henry changes that. Like you think that,
but you have that monster, and you're like, yeah, I can feed him. I can feed him.
Yeah, but I would say this about Derrick, and I love Derrick. Is Mike going to trust him to be on the field for 3 downs? And if he's not, does that solve your issues?
I've been talking about this on the show. Did you see what that smart son of a bitch did?
Who?
Did you see what he did the last 2 years? Derrick Henry.
He definitely got better as a receiver. He got a lot better as a receiver. Yep.
Hey, let me tell you something. That came from him. I don't know anything on that team, but all of a sudden, go look at his stats. He started catching 30 balls a year the last 2 years.
Right.
And he wasn't doing that because we never looked at him as a receiver. That son of a bitch knew he was going to become a free agent, and he must have been saying, throw me the ball, throw me the ball.
Right.
And he proved to people the last 2 years he can catch the ball, actually. So trust him, because I watched it the last 2 years and I've talked about it, and I'm super impressed with Derrick Henry in that sense. And by the way, watching him, how he addressed his way out here, I like this guy, dude. I like this. I like the person, actually.
He's a great dude. Derrick Henry's a great. I can tell.
Level-headed dude, brother.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's a very smart dude too. Like one thing I think that running backs, maybe the running back position and running back coaches aren't given enough credit for, is their intelligence. They're not just a pound straight ahead dude. Like Derrick Henry's knowledge of the entire game, of what offense looks like. Like I think it's pretty advanced, and he's an impressive dude. And he's a Florida dude, and so I'm sure he would love to come back to Florida. He had a podcast with Bussin' with the Boys with Taylor Lewan and Will Compton. And I don't know if you saw it. I'm sure Dolphins fans, probably a lot of you guys did. He thought he was going to be drafted to the Dolphins when he got drafted. And he said that's where he wanted to go coming out of the draft. It's a Florida kid who Miami obviously is I'm partial here, the best city in Florida. And it makes a lot of sense, right? So, yes, I think there would be a lot of interest from his side. But again, I brought this up last. Are you going to pay him what his demand's going to be? Because this is a franchise that traditionally has not put a lot of resources into the running back spot. Obviously, they spent a 3rd-round pick on Achane last year, which is probably the highest they've gone in a long time since King and Drake, I believe. And they probably want to value him. Raheem Mostert's coming back. I believe he's under contract. One thing I keep an eye on is he's going to want to raise, because they got him at a great value. He's under contract year 2. He doesn't have any guaranteed money, but he's set to make maybe $2.5–3 million, and he's a Pro Bowl running back. And so you might have a situation, just saying, where he comes in here and says, I want to raise, and if I don't, then I'm not showing up to certain elements of.
I think that I could see them giving him a little bonus and add incentives to it. But I would bring Henry, because those are 2 finesse backs. Let's keep those guys fresh.
Raheem's not a finesse back. Raheem is not a finesse back.
I know he can bring the hammer, but he's really not a hammer back. So
I'll tell you what. I talked to
he's still a speed back.
Yeah.
My point is, I'd rather jab you with Henry, and then just dazzle you with Mostert or Achane, as a difference, as a change up there. To me, that would be amazing. But, one of the things I explain to people, because either they talk about the mobile quarterback, which is really not, you can talk about that, say, well, I want Tua to be running. Well, guess what? Some of those running quarterbacks can't sit in the pocket like Tua can and make a living from the pocket. So there's a reason why they have to run. And then they talk about the young guys. Oh, CJ, which he did a great job. I love what I saw from CJ. And even Jordan Love. But what I try to explain to people is you're not really watching the game. So CJ got his ass kicked 34-10. Well, one of the things they were able to do all throughout the year helping out CJ was run the hell out of the ball. Guess what they did that day running the ball? 14 times, 38 yards, 2.7. So CJ didn't have the running game, and that put more pressure on the poor kid. And then young guys did what young guys do, and he'll be fine down the line, learning thing. Now, Jordan Love was able to stay in the game with the Niners. Why was he able to stay in the game? Was he so amazing? No, not really. He actually threw 2 interceptions and 2 touchdowns. It's that Aaron Jones had 18 rushes for 108 yards at 6 yards a carry, and they ran as a team 28 for 136 for 4.9. Jordan Love completed 21 passes, and they ran 28 times. And it's people aren't watching, whether it's Lamar and company running, whether it's Josh Allen and company running, or whether it's quarterbacks like CJ and Love that aren't going to make any yardage either because they're not running quarterbacks, but they have the complementary of the run. And that, to me, is the element that is missing. And that's why I harp so much on the Derrick Henry thing, because maybe that'll make Mike McDaniel be more disciplined to that running game and help Tua out instead of putting him out there thinking he's Marino. And Marino can do that shit, throw 40, 50 times without a running game and survive. And Joe Burrow can do that. And Pat Mahomes can do that. In this league, outside of Mahomes and Joe Burrow, who's the other guy you want throwing 40, 50 times a game without a running game?
Mahomes and Joe Burrow? You got to go pretty far down. There's not many, right? Like, I know some people will say Justin Herbert. I'm not there with him.
Oh, please.
You know? And so I haven't seen it enough when it counts. I know you disagree, but I would be okay.
He's turnover.
Yeah.
Herbert is turnover prone, so you don't want him throwing 40, 50 times because he has a tendency of making that mistake. Only Burrow and Mahomes are the only guys that you can say, we got no running game. Guys, it's on you today.
Right.
And
I've seen Josh Allen do it enough that I would be okay with it. You just have more risk. You have a lot more risk with Josh Allen than maybe those other 2 guys.
Do you really want to put Josh Allen in that position? No, you don't. You don't.
If he's not playing Mahomes, then maybe so.
That's my point. If it's Mahomes or Burrow, you don't care what game it is, where it's at.
He's clear. In my opinion, you said the point there. I think it's Mahomes, then Burrow, then Allen. And so Allen right now is the 3rd best quarterback. And I would even argue, I know you disagree, but I would argue Lamar's in that conversation. You can argue Lamar.
No.
I know you disagree with Lamar, but I think Lamar is a top 4. I think it's those 4 at the top 4. And you can argue that
they have to run. Lamar and Josh have to run in order to be effective. They can.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
There's no way they can sit in the pocket, throw 40 times a game.
I think we've seen this year that being disproven, and last year too, to an extent with Lamar. I think he's showing what he can do as a pocket passer. They don't throw 40 times a game because they can run, and because he is the best running quarterback in football, and you don't handicap your best skill. But I think he can sit in the pocket and be a pocket passer. He showed that against Miami. of all teams, like he destroyed the Dolphins that week, largely staying in the pocket as a passer.
Yeah, but our guys weren't even able to cover. They were wide open it would look like a college football game, as wide open as those receivers were. There wasn't a lot of difficulty in the passing.
But part of that is the threat of Lamar's legs that allows him to be able to show off his passing ability. And so if he chooses, if Lamar says if he chooses to sit in the pocket and throw the ball 30, 40 times a game, he can have a lot of success because you always have to be aware that he can run off for 100 on you. Like last week.
No, you can't run. That's my point.
But I'm saying
if he sits back there for 40 times without the threat of running, like Burrow and Mahomes, just sit back there like Marino, like Kelly. Part of
his skill set is he has the threat of running.
Warren Moon was another guy that I could put back there 40, 50 times and he won't turn it over. You
Right,
do that with Lamar, I got interceptions and fumbles coming for him.
You're handicapping one of his most dangerous weapons. That's like if I said, oh, if Josh Allen could only throw the ball 40 yards, or if Patrick Mahomes could only throw the ball 40 yards, then they would be different players. Yes. If you limited one of their best skill sets, yes, they would be different players.
That's my point, my man, that in the NFL currently, there are only two guys in the NFL that you can just say, rip it. No running game today. It's all on you. It's only two guys. That's how hard it is.
It's a straw man's argument, but
there's only two guys that can do that kind of shit. And throughout the history of the league, okay, I've been around for a long time. There's only a few of those guys. There's not a lot of those guys that you want them throwing 40, 50 times. The Warren Moons of the world, those dudes are rare, man.
I hear you.
Between
I will leave it at this because I think we're towards the end of this conversation, but I would end it at this. The way I look at it, if I was starting a franchise today, Lamar would be one of my top 5 picks as a quarterback.
Okay. I commend Harbaugh. I just don't commit to that kind of a game, that kind of offense. I can't commit to that kind of an offense because I think
there are certain coaches who he's not your style of quarterback. I get it. There are certain offenses, certain coaches who they prefer a drop back, simple pocket passing game. That's why you have different coaches that work for different skill sets, why you have the pocket passers versus the dual threat quarterbacks. For me, I want a quarterback that makes defenses struggle to go to sleep because of the threat that they provide. And to me, Lamar's in the top 3 in that group. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson are probably the 3 quarterbacks who keep defensive coordinators up at night the most. And Joe Burrow's probably in that conversation, that top 4 as well, in a different respect. But Lamar Jackson certainly very high on that list, and some defensive coordinators probably would say number 1.
No, Mahomes is always number 1 because
Mahomes is the best quarterback in football. He's probably, I think before he's done, he's going to be the best quarterback to ever play this game. But as far as the danger, the stress, I'd say Lamar's right there. If not 1, he's 2.
I'll give you 2 if you want. There's no way he's 1 because you have to have the better and more accurate arm.
And I won't. Trust me.
It's deadly accurate every single time.
I'm with you. If it's Mahomes, if the question is Mahomes or somebody else, I'm going to pick Mahomes.
Just watch the game. When the completions aren't really good completions, they're behind receivers, a little high. They all have to adjust to his passes a lot of times. They're not in flow a lot of times, man. So Mahomes he's just a different. He's on another level, bro. He's the best. He's the best of our generation, and soon, before he's done, he'll be the best to ever play. He's perfect, is what he is. He's the perfect quarterback because he can move around, he can throw, and he's deadly ass accurate, and he's a money player. All right, we got Manny coming up here quickly in 30 seconds. I say Christian Wilkins will price his ass out of here, and he will not be here. But I see a lot of people talking and writing about a tag and that they got to sign him and this and that. I say he's gone. What's your prediction?
I think he signs a big free agent deal elsewhere. I think it's going to be very hard for the Dolphins to tag him with their cap situation. And I think that his value is going to be $22+ million a year. And the Dolphins were not close to that number this offseason. And so unless they've drastically changed their view of him, I think that he'll get that number in free agency elsewhere.
He was already close to that number last offseason.
Right.
What do you think he's going to do now with 9 sacks?
Yesterday's price was not today's price, right? And so maybe the 22 goes to 25 now. Maybe it's a 25 is the number now. And so I get why they wanted to let him play out the year, but they lost that bet. He bet on himself and he won. And I think that his pay will show that.
I love that line. Yesterday's price is not today's
price. Yep.
Follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolf and catch his work there at the NFL Network. Cam, as always, thank you, my brother. Good to see you called out.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. There you go. Call our friends at KSDT CPAs, 305-670-3370. Hour number 2 is next, and it's Manny Navarro time.
We unleash the Wolf Pack as we get the latest in the NFL and the Miami Dolphins with our KSDT. This has been the KSDT CPA Pro Football Report with NFL insider Cameron Wolf. KSDT is recognized by Forbes as one of the top tax accounting firms for 2022. KSDT CPA is a full-service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit them at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370. The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. If you're a Miami sports fan, there's only one store to go to, and that's Canes Wear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Canes Wear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
All right, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend. How you feeling, baby? I know you're feeling a lot better than Cam Wolf, who's been stuck in Buffalo for the last 2 weeks.
Who wants to be stuck there, right? I mean, in that freezing cold and that snow and everything else. I'm doing good. Oh, here in sunny South Florida, getting ready to coach my daughters in soccer the next few days, practices and whatnot. So it's the off season, man. It's kind of chilly right now.
Yeah, it looks like following you this week, kind of a slow week this week, huh? Not a lot
No.
is ruined. After last week, it's, they find a quarterback and it's like, hey, all right. And now this week, it's like, hey, there's nothing going on. Larinaga, Meyer. Yeah. Okay. That's what's going on. That's about it. Right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. This is one of those periods, they will have junior day this weekend as far as the football team is concerned. So they'll have a bunch of guys on campus. I told you last week about the importance of just maintaining those, elite recruiting classes, right? Stacking. So they're going to have a lot of recruits on campus, guys that they hope to be in the battle for come the summertime when decisions are made, and then hopefully to hold on to them in December. So that process has begun. But I think as far as this roster is concerned, they hosted an offensive guard from Washington, Nate Kalepo, the starting left guard for that unit this past weekend. I don't know that Kalepo's going to end up here. They've got a lot of good offensive linemen. I mean, he'd be the guy you just sort of move in there at left guard. He replaces Javian Cohen. You don't have to worry about playing any of the young guys. But I think at the same time, too, you're playing that delicate game of how many veterans do you bring in before you start driving away some of the younger guys who want an opportunity for a starting job. So that's the delicate balance of that. But, for now, it's all about Cam Ward. It's all about spring football and developing the guys that you have on this roster.
What do you know now about Cam Ward you didn't know last week?
Well, just the fact that he is a guy who really cares about his development. He's a guy that wants to take the next level up. He wants to be a first-round pick. I think he's a guy who looks at this as an opportunity to raise his stock. You got to remember something. He's a former unranked recruit who signed with Incarnate Word coming out of high school. So for him, this is a story about elevation. This is about raising yourself to levels that nobody thought you could reach. He obviously went to Washington State and did some good things, but people look at Washington State as one of those schools that, is way out there. They're on the West Coast. Nobody really pays attention to them much. They were in the Pac-12, what was the old Pac-12. Now they're not even in a Power 5 conference. This is stepping his game up.
Watch out. The Cougs produce more quarterbacks than most schools.
Oh, they do. I'm not knocking him for that. What I'm saying is
I'm just saying, considering perception, reality is we've got some quarterbacks out of that school. Okay?
Oh yeah, no, there's no question. There's no question. He's another one of those, and he might be the best one, to be honest, to come out of that school. We'll see how he develops here.
So Bledsoe probably is still the best one. I don't know.
Right. But if Cam Ward has the kind of career he wants to have, being the kind of dynamic threat with the big arm, then he'll work himself into the first round and be a guy that an NFL team builds around. That's what he wants to be. He wants to be the guy, and
Now,
he
now,
believes he
now
can
he
be.
better come to reality that he'll never have the mustache of Minshew. Just
No.
all right. I just want to make sure. Make sure when
Yes.
you talk to Cam that he can be the great at everything. He won't have the best mustache to ever come out of Washington State or Miami, because that will go to Minshew. Obviously, that's the porn stash only goes to one person, so that's about it. Okay, I like it. I like it. So in other words, you're telling me it's not where he ended pro, so don't get crazy on me out there. But the kid was a next level professional, and that's King. King was like that, right? He was a guy that was professional all the way to the and I get he wanted to be an NFL quarterback, but obviously the Lord didn't give him those kind of gifts. So
Right.
it is, unfortunately. But he was a pro's pro, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, and now he's a coach at SMU with Rhett Lashley. So that was something that I always sort of expected for De'Eric, that he would eventually get into coaching. You look at a guy like Cam Ward, maybe that's down the road for him too, but I really think he's blessed with enough gifts, enough physical gifts, the size, the arm strength, to be a legitimate NFL prospect and to be a guy who, with a great season at Miami. Look, if everything works out for him, right, and this offense hums and they make the playoff or win the ACC championship, right, and they have one of those type seasons, I'm willing to bet there's going to be a lot of NFL teams that look at him and say, okay, he proved it. He proved it at a high level. It's not the SEC, it's not the Big Ten, but if he can lead his team to a conference championship, right, or get them into the playoff, he's got to have something special about him. And so I think he just looks at this opportunity at Miami as that chance for him to prove to everybody who's always doubted him and said, oh, he's just an incarnate word kid, or he's this and that. That he can be special and be somebody who is a real NFL quarterback.
And this will go out to all the Tua hating idiots out there. They won't like to hear this part here, but Cam Ward, in order for him to be that, every quarterback needs this, including Tua and every other one. You need playmakers, bro.
Yeah.
Playmakers. So who's going to step up? We need a couple of guys. Like a few years ago when Van Dyke looked so good, it was Rambo and KJ doing some stuff for you, making you look good. And in years past, whatever quarterback was in college or for the Dolphins, whether it was Santana Moss in college or Mark Clayton in the NFL, somebody was making your quarterback look good. It wasn't only that he was good. So
right.
Cam's going to need playmakers, bro, at tight end and at wide receiver. Who can we really count on?
I think the only two guys that you can say are proven in that receiver room right now are Jacoby George and Xavier Restrepo. And those are the two guys that come back with stats, with numbers, with production. Now, are they elite NFL, type receivers? I think George probably has a higher ceiling than Restrepo does, because Restrepo isn't a burner. He isn't a guy with a lot of speed. Both of them, to me, are quality college receivers. Are they anything more than that? I don't know that Cam Ward has that on the roster right now. Now, there are some incoming freshmen that I really like a lot. Guys that I think can eventually develop into that. I think JoJo Trader is an elite player, whether he's playing offense or defense. I would think this is a guy who will end up playing on Saturdays. I think Chance Robinson is a quality number 2 type college receiver, a guy with pro potential because of his size. But you're counting on freshmen and young guys to step into those roles. So that's why I think come the spring window, when the transfer period opens again, right, I think there is a very good possibility that Miami will be in the market for a receiver who says, I want to go play with Cam Ward and I want to go be the guy. So we could see something very similar to what happened at FSU with them, how they were able to add somebody, in the kid they got from Michigan State, who's a big time prospect. So I think that's the kind of scenario we could see playing out in the spring.
Yeah, didn't George have some funky fouls in that Rutgers game or something? Didn't
He did, and he also got himself in trouble driving, and so.
Yeah. So Cam Ward's going to need some maturity around him and playmakers, because every quarterback needs that. So I'm glad that he's here, but Mario, you better go out and get yourself a stud that he can count on in a big time way. All right, what are you working on in the athletics so folks can check you out, my friend?
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, it's been a busy time in the transfer portal, so we're finally that story I've been working on for like a week, because I'm sitting here researching all these rosters in the ACC and the SEC, and just putting together sort of hey, what happened, right? Like, what happened, because most of us aren't keeping track of the day-to-day activity. That'll be coming out tomorrow. The ACC story will be coming out tomorrow, and the Athletic Wednesday, and then my SEC story will be coming out Thursday. So you'll have back-to-back pictures of what the roster reconstruction looks like in the league. And remember, the ACC's expanded to 17 teams now. We've got Stanford, we've got Cal, we've got SMU. Just speaking to you, I think Miami's roster overhaul, I kind of broke it down into winners, broke even, and losers. I put Miami in the winners bracket for roster portal work, because they got Cam Ward. That was a huge part of it. I would not have put them in the winners bracket if they didn't get Cam Ward. They would have been broke even, or maybe even in the loser category. The fact that they got Cam Ward is a big difference maker.
Now get me a damn receiver. All right, follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro and catch his work there at The Athletic. Better yet, subscribe. Manny, as always, thank you, my brother. We'll catch up on Friday.
All right, brother. Good talking to you. Take care.
You. And don't forget, use our code BIG010 at Caneswear, either at caneswear.com or in person when you go live at 2655 South University Drive in Davie. They got Inter Miami gear. You can get a messy t-shirt, a messy jersey, all that kind of stuff. Heat gear. Yeah, baby. Terry Rozier. We got all kinds of stuff. Marlins gear. You can use Velcro there since they change the names all the time. All kinds of stuff there at Caneswear. Go to caneswear.com, check it out. Use our code BIG010. Heat made a big trade. The man that's been covering the Heat for a long, long time, Ira Winderman, joins us next.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
Heat fans, time for the best insight of your favorite team with insider Ira Winderman, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. It's the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report. Here's Ira Winderman.
Right. Wait a minute. What the hell is that?
I seem to be having camera problems here. Can you hear me?
We hear you perfectly. We just
right.
can't see you. It's like a black screen or something.
Yeah, no, it's weird. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to go to another computer now and see if I can log on there. So,
yeah, you got that. Yeah, that one's working. That one's working. There you go.
I'm going to switch over to that. Okay,
Yeah,
hold on. Everyone chill out here.
Let's let him get situated and ready to go, and then we'll pop him up. All right. That looks like he's ready to go.
Right here.
All right. Here we go. There we go. Much
computer 2. Okay.
Much better. Much better.
Odd technology.
And, yes. And by the way, really nice move by the Heat today. Unload that salary that's been just an albatross, and pick up a player that you desperately needed in so many ways. Not so much running the offense, but, I always joke around, and I mean it too at the same time, that the Heat at times is too much of a 2-point team in a 3-point world. And you added at least another piece that can help you out from the arc. which, in this league, the math doesn't work if you keep trading 2s for 3s. It makes it so harder for you. So at least you added a guy that can handle the ball, run the offense for you, score from 3. So it helps you in many ways.
Well, he's still more of a 2-point shooter. So, I mean, that's the thing. He still is a mid-range guy. Big O, to me, there's
right? Isn't it 35% from 3-point range?
He is, but it's not necessarily a high volume. Most of his shots come from the 2-point area. So you're still going to have that. To me, the bigger point of the trade is this. You've traded whale harpooning for living in the moment. By trading one of your 2 future first-round picks, you only have a 2030 pick available. So talk of Luka Doncic, talk of Donovan Mitchell if he decides Cleveland doesn't finish well. So I think Heat Nation, it comes down to this. Are you more concerned about living in the moment? You and I speak about it on our Accurate Pembroke Pines report, protecting the Jimmy Butler years, however many there might be, versus taking a long-range view. They took the long-range view for Donovan Mitchell before. It didn't happen. They took the long-range view for Damian Lillard. Didn't happen. This is a move where the Heat are saying, now, we're going to match the Knicks with OG and Anunoby. We're going to match the Pacers with Pascal Siakam. We're going to be living in the moment right now. This is going to cost you in the offseason. When people are talking about trades and 2 and 3 first-round picks, right now, all the Heat have to offer is a 2030 pick. But here's the other part, Big O. The pick is protected in 27, not in 28. The Heat at the moment have 2 unprotected first-round picks in circulation. If they don't wind forwarding one to the Thunder in 25, it's unprotected in 26. So they're also gambling on themselves that they will continue to remain relevant. They will continue to remain a playoff team. It's a risk. Some teams don't take these risks. The Heat are living in the moment. This trade was made solely for 2024. They can move off of Rozier's contract just like they moved off of Kyle Lowry's contract. But this is another case of the Heat living in the moment.
I think you can live in the moment. Why? I don't want Donovan Mitchell anymore. Why? Because I think Jaquez is going to turn into that guy. I don't need you to stop his progress. And you're already developing Jovic. And you have Bam. And you have Tyler. And you have Caleb. I don't know if you're going to hang on to Caleb yet or anything. Or maybe he's part of a trade piece for the next move. But you have enough young guys that we've talked about this already.
Right.
I'm tired of all this, go for the older guy and try to hang on. Man, you're drafting well. You're developing well. I think you stay on this path. Don't you have your first round pick this year?
You do have your first round pick this year. And
I don't have a problem watching you guys draft and develop and let contracts expire and get the hell out of here and have a little bit more flexibility if you can overall. I don't have a problem with that, man.
Well, it's interesting also because you mentioned Caleb Martin. If you move off Caleb Martin now and say, hey, we have our Caleb Martin, his name is Haywood Highsmith. He's going to be cheaper. It'll be easier to keep in the offseason. You now can get below the first apron of the luxury tax, which means you can then get any buyout player other than Kyle Lowry on the buyout market. So what the Heat are going to have to say to themselves between now and February 8th is this. Are we better off opening ourselves to any and every buyout possibility by moving off Caleb Martin, maybe for a draft choice? Or is Caleb better than any buyout player who's going to be out there? And there are going to be interesting buyout players on the market.
That was going to be the question.
I'm not a huge Gordon Hayward fan, so I don't know if I would go in that direction. But there are going to be other pieces who are out there. Danilo Gallinari, for example. He's a guy you could add in the buyout market and might say, you know what? Unlike Caleb, he's a stretch 4, and we can go in that direction. The one thing about the Heat.
Can I count on him to stay healthy for 2 weeks? Danilo?
Can you count on Tyler Hero to stay healthy for 2 weeks? So, that's going to be an ongoing thing.
Already on the roster. I can't do anything about that. Adding Danilo, I can't trust that guy's body to hold up, dude. I mean, Humpty Dumpty's more healthy than that guy.
Well, you're going to have issues, but you know what, Big O, we've learned, even from Kyle Lowry, move A typically leads to move B down the road, and I'll say it this way. The Kyle Lowry contract for 3 years was never a great deal, 3 at 85. But in year 1, you went to the Eastern Conference Finals, got within a shot of the finals. You did. I'm not saying it was because of Kyle, but you did. In year 2 of Kyle, You got to the NBA Finals. I'm not going to say it's because of Kyle. He wasn't even starting. And in year 3, you turned him into an asset. Look at all those Heat long-term contracts previously. Okay, Big O? Hassan Whiteside's final year turns into part of the Jimmy Butler year. You could look at James Johnson and Deion Waiters. The final years of their contracts turn into Iguodala and a rental of Jay Crowder and the 2020 NBA Finals. So you have maximized end of contracts when everyone said James Johnson, bad contract. When everyone says Deion Waiters, bad contract. When everyone's saying Hassan Whiteside, bad contract. When everyone was saying Kyle Lowry, bad contract. Going to be interesting now. Are the end of the Jimmy Butler contract years going to be flipped, or are they going to ride that one out? The one thing the Heat have shown, they can get off of bad money. So it comes down to what you think bad money is.
Oh, yeah. They've been doing it forever. We never thought they could get rid of Brian Grant and Eddie Jones. And he was able to move those contracts. He moved that forward Anderson. Right? Didn't he
Ryan Anderson, no, that was actually to get off money. It caught you a first-round pick, and then you wound up getting a player who you had, A.J. Hammond, who you wound up waiving anyway. Look, there were some bad ones. The Anderson was bad, but that was taking on to get rid of Tyler Johnson's money. So you're constantly flipping money. So the one thing with the Heat, I will say this, and it really is true, it's never over till it's over. When you say Hassan Whiteside couldn't be any worse of a contract, they made it work. Deion, James Johnson, and now Kyle Lowry. They have a way of getting out of the other side of that rabbit hole.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. The Deion one was terrible from the get-go because you knew he had to have surgery, and you still gave him a contract. You were competing against yourself. That one just didn't make any sense to me. But overall, I love this move. I love this move for the Heat overall. I think it was a terrific move, something that you desperately needed on this team. And you added a little speed, too, also to the offense.
And youth, and you got 8 years younger. Yes, and that matters when you have Jimmy Butler and you have Kevin Love and you have Josh Richardson. Hey, for the Heat to get anyone on the underside of 30 is a step forward when it comes to this team. So now 2 things are going to happen. Will Tyler Hero willingly give up shots? Because Tyler likes him some shots. We'll see how the chemistry works with Terry Rozier in an undersized.
About his feelings. I don't worry. If I'm Spo, I'm going to do what's best for the Heat and not worry about Tyler Hero's feelings, dude. I mean,
So that's number one. You're going to have to see
everybody else's feelings when he's out with injuries and, leaving his team in the lurch. No.
Well, you're going to have to see how it works. Chemistry matters, number one. Number two, I think with Jaime coming back also, plus with Terry, I think Josh Richardson could honestly fall out of the rotation. Now, he's on a minimum deal, and that's life in the NBA. And obviously, if Josh had a better deal somewhere else for more money, he would have taken it, or something even similar with playing time. He's going to have to deal with that. But you know what? I wouldn't go as far as saying it got toxic with Kyle, but there was a bad vibe there. And you want to excise that from your locker room. And clearly, he wasn't happy. He never was a Heat culture guy. He never was a body fat guy. He never was a weigh-in guy. So you had to move off of that also. So I think what they did is they cleared the air to a bit also. Look, Big O, from last Friday through Sunday in Orlando, it was just, there was something going on there with Kyle and the benching, and it didn't sit right. Now Eric Spoelstra can say, hey, I'm moving on from that. We got a guy who wants to be here. And if you're Terry Rozier and you were going back to the lottery, you had a 0 chance for the playoffs. You had lame duck ownership because Michael Jordan sold to a different group. God, I like Steve Clifford as a person a lot, but he's a lame duck coach. He's walking dead there when it comes to the new ownership getting the coach that they want.
He's in a real franchise now. He's got to, Terry Rozier's got to be, he's in a warm place. And he's in a real franchise.
Yeah, he gets to be where he wants. He was part of that trade from Boston for Kemba Walker when the Celtics were down a little. So I think there's a lot of parties who are in a better place.
Didn't he get a raise by coming to a no-tax state? Or wait, North Carolina's also no tax, I think.
Well, and also he got a raise when he got his contract there. He's still being paid well. So I don't think for Terry it's about the money. I think for Terry it's about the opportunity.
Definitely. I love the move. It's exactly what Miami needed, overall. And by the way, could he become a slightly better 3-point shooter with the coaching here? Because I know he makes like 2 or 3 a game. He takes like 7 and makes 2 or 3 a game, which is a nice clip overall. Could he become a slightly better 3-point shooter here? Because everybody fundamentally becomes better here.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see how Spoelstra redoes the lineup, redoes the rotation. Does Jaime Jaquez come back as a starter? Does Jaime Jaquez come back as a reserve? You're reconfiguring. You're doing stuff on the move. And I got to tell you, Big O, except for the Wednesday game against Memphis, you're talking about upcoming games against the Celtics national TV, the Knicks national TV, the Clippers national TV coming up, the Suns, the Kings. I wrote that in my Ask Ira today. This schedule gets really tough. Terry Rozier is going to have to hit the ground running because this schedule is going to demand better play than the absolute crap we've seen from the Heat against the Raptors, against the Hawks, and against the Magic. They have to be better against those teams than they were against the previous team.
But a dude like that is going to be so pumped to be a part of this. So his life got better. He's a competitor, and now he gets
trade boost. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. Catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Ira, thank you for joining us. Big news. Appreciate it. Have a fantastic week, sir. We will catch up next week.
Always here, fast and first on the Acura Pembroke Pines Report. Thank you, Big O.
Thank you, sir. There you go. Ira Winderman and Acura Pembroke Pines. Get on down to 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 and Pines. And let me tell you something. If you own or lease an Acura, you can go on down there, go talk to Mike Chan or Jordan Ferber. They will take care of you, and they will take care of your Acura like they take care of mine. It's customer appreciation sales event going on right now. And the 2024 Integra, you can get it for $329 a month. The 2023 TLX, $399 a month. The 2024 RDX, $459, and the 2024 MDX, $499. Get on down to the #1 volume sales dealership in the United States. It is Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. We talk football with David Furones next.
Heat fans, you've been listening to the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA Report with Ira Winderman. When you're looking for award-winning service and great deals from the #1 volume Acura sales dealership in the Southeast United States, you go to Craig Zinn Acura of Pembroke Pines at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
All rise, football fans, as the Welton Rayon Miami Dolphins Report with David Furones is in session.
Welton Rayon has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider David Furones.
All right, there he is, ready to go. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good?
Yes, sir. Doing all right. How are you?
Can't complain, my man. Can't complain. Only people that can complain right now are Buffalo fans, which you've had a field day with them.
Oh, did I? Me? Well, I mean, it's always a good time when in Miami, even if it's a week removed from playoff elimination, when you watch the Buffalo Bills go down. So just having some fun with it.
No, you definitely had a lot of fun with it. That's for damn sure. I mean, that was good. That was good.
Well, I end up getting these Buffalo Bills fans in my mention on X. They follow the reporters of other teams, I guess, and they're always tracking whatever everyone else is saying about the Bills, and they want to chime in. So, hey, if you want to see what the talk is out there, then you're gonna get it.
Yeah, I'm with you there, and it's interesting now because there's a lot of, I think they're kind of silly narratives because you got people that want to trade for Justin Fields because of the mobile quarterback. And I get it. I understand all of that. But I think what people are kind of mixing up is that some quarterbacks have to be mobile because they can't be pocket passers. And so I think it's more about the Dolphins dedicating themselves more to the run than they have, actually. They did a little bit better this year than they did last year, but still they didn't go all the way. Whereas you see some of these other guys out around the league, they're getting heavy support from the running game. To me, that's the missing ingredient besides the tight end, besides the short passing game. Something, by the way, that was also very prevalent in the playoff games. It wasn't only running. It was a short passing game that a lot of quarterbacks will use a lot. It's the tight end. These are things that you're watching elements. It's not so much the one person that's missing that skill set. No, it's your team that's missing certain elements. Would you look at it that way?
Yeah, and this is a topic that came up on our Sun Sentinel program. I was discussing with Perk, and so this is the time of the year where, with the Dolphins eliminated, I remember this really being a big deal in the 2021 postseason. That's January of 22, when you're watching Joe Burrow make his run to the Super Bowl through the AFC. Patrick Mahomes, of course, is there, and Lamar Jackson is in the AFC. Josh Allen. It's a very talented quarterback heavy conference, not so much like the NFC where Brock Purdy can lead the number one team, and now who is still a fine quarterback, but not a guy capable of doing all the things that we see from whether it's Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, etc. Joe Burrow when he's healthy, and Jared Goff is the other quarterback right now in the NFC Championship game. But this is the time of the year where then you start looking at all those quarterbacks in the playoff games and say, boy, the Dolphins don't have that. And you look at a lot of the mobility and Josh Allen just rumbling downhill for big gains. But Tua is a different quarterback, and that's okay. It's not like he needs to win by the same way that Lamar Jackson does, and that you need to have those same tools. Tua will win with what quarterbacks coach Darrell Bevell called his 4 superpowers: the accuracy, anticipation, the timing, and the vision. So that's his game. So you maximize on what you have with him playing his game, and then you have a really talented wide receiver duo. Yes, they need to get over some drops, and they have their faults too, and the system still needs to get over some humps and incorporate the run game. Mike McDaniel needs to become a better play caller.
Got to get a playmaking tight end, bro. Big time.
There's that too. Yeah.
So go ahead.
You add up all those things, and yeah, you want to see it all come together, but that doesn't mean that the quarterback has to go and win the game on his own with his legs. And he doesn't have the big arm that Josh Allen, Justin Herbert have. He's even admitted as much. The times that he's gone up against them this past season, when asked about the other quarterback, he said, man, it's really impressive some of the things they do, and I'm just a different quarterback, he would say. So he's the guy you have. You could win with the way that he quarterbacks the game. It doesn't mean you have to match the opposing quarterback stride for stride with big gains on the ground with the big arm. And he had a lot of downfield throws as well. So this was probably the biggest season that we've had with him throwing the deep ball, hitting Tyreek Hill so many times, hitting Jalen Waddle at one time.
Yeah. I mean, it's just to me, that's kind of what I notice out of all of this is that McDaniel needs to add more balance to it. I predict they will get a playmaking tight end this offseason. They tried the last 2 years to get it. It's a missing ingredient in their offense. I definitely think they're going to get that guy. The other thing that I've been saying for a couple weeks now, but I keep hearing people talk about it, write about it, or maybe even say it on radio or television, that Christian Wilkins will get a long-term deal or will get tagged. I say he will get neither. Christian Wilkins will price himself right the hell off this team, and he's not coming back. What's your prediction with Christian Wilkins?
See, I've started to break down, even go deeper into the cap situation and what needs to happen. And, of course, the Dolphins want to keep a core together. And I'm starting to feel like the Dolphins are going to end up giving him the contract, and it's going to be a deal that's backloaded. It's friendly at the beginning so that they could get under the cap this year, put all their hopes into this season. Maybe it's a window that goes this year and next year. And then after that, you're just going to pile on all those cap liabilities that this team is going to have, and really it's going to come down to this short-term window. So I'm feeling like, yeah, Christian Wilkins is gonna have to get his money, and he bet on himself by not taking what the Dolphins offered last offseason, going into training camp when he held out of team portions of practice. What he needed to prove was that he could provide an interior pass rush. He got 9 sacks this year, so he bet on himself. Basically, he won. Sure, he could stand to do a lot better come the big games because he didn't show up that way in those bigger games, and he piled on some sacks against some of the lesser competition. That's kind of the story of the whole team, really. But at the end of the day, he decided, okay, I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to take that deal because I feel I'm worth more. I'm going to prove to you that I can provide the interior pass rush. And what pays is sacks, and he ended up with 9 of them. So now yesterday's price is not today's price when it comes to Christian Wilkins because of that.
Yeah, from what I'm told, he wanted, something close to Quentin Williams' money last year. And with the 9 sacks, I think he's going to want more. I think he's priced out. So we shall see. You think he plays here in the 2024 season? I say no.
It's going to be burdensome, but I feel like it's going to be a contract that's structured where, okay, it's an extension. We can handle it under the cap now. We'll worry about next year and the years that come after that. We already know we're piling on all these restructured deals, the cap hits over several years, and that it's going to be Mayday come those future seasons, but we'll worry about that time when that time comes. I feel like they want to keep this core together, and a big deal in that is keeping the guy that was that foundational first-round pick when you started the rebuild 2019 draft, and he was a guy that he's been reliable. We talk about all these other guys that are injury-prone. He's always been there for you, and then he added on the pass rush in this game, and he's a big locker room guy. He's got a lot of fans within that front office of him and his routine and the way he goes about things. So I feel that at the end of the day, the Dolphins, if they want to compete, and they're going to have to bite the bullet and decide we're not going to get better by diminishing something that we were already strong at.
Yeah, I got you there. All right. Mark Smith is asking, what happens with Armstead's contract if he retires? I don't think he's retiring. I think that's just, end of the season, stuff that you're frustrated and all that. Do we lose Wilkins? We answered that one for you. He thinks he stays. I say he's gone. And X this offseason. Definitely X is gone. You agree with that one, right? X is gone.
I have him as that post June 1 cut that can then help you sign the draft class if you just hold on a bit in dishing out that money. So yeah.
What do you think happens with Armstead?
I think he'll come back. He'll contemplate. He's coming off the season where, like every other one, he's dealt with a bunch of injuries. So I think he does indeed come back. As far as what happens, the Dolphins will still owe him money because of how it was already restructured. So from my understanding, it's beneficial that he does come back because you're already essentially going to be paying him.
Yeah. From what I understand, it's another year where you might have an opportunity to get out of it. Another year or two, I think it is, with Armstead. This year is not the offseason you want to get out because then it's going to cripple you. If he retires or you would cut him or whatever, it would be cap crippling. So you've got to hold off and you got to hope that he plays. Actually, you got to hope that he stays at least another year. To be quite honest, the way things are restructured, and you've guaranteed some money, right? I think it was. That's what you said, right?
Guaranteed, yeah. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
And then you just hope that he gives you those, whatever it'll be, 10 games, 11 games. You know what you're going to get out of him, and you have to have that backup plan. Kendall Lamb was serviceable in that role.
You got to bring back Kendall Lamb.
He's vital. He's vital to this team.
Yeah. Kendall Lamb and Liam Eichenberg. Okay, because see, here's my problem. I know people were down on Liam. I'm super confident now in Liam. I thought he did a good job on one leg overall, and he was learning a new position, and I thought he got better at it, even injured and everything. He comes back next year and he's healthy. He'll be a key backup, and the next time Liam Eichenberg gets a chance to start, my prediction is he keeps the job. I don't know where you put him. Wherever you put him, he will be your starter the next time around. I think Liam Eichenberg has turned the corner physically, mentally. I think he's ready to become a consistent lineman.
And here's another thing. If you're able to bring back Connor Williams on a team-friendly deal because he's coming off the injury, he won't be ready for the start of the season in all likelihood. So you're going to need a center to start before Williams comes back. And then who knows how Williams plays once he does come back, if all that plays out where he comes back and everything. You'll possibly just need him at center, or maybe left guard if Williams if it does play out where Williams comes back on a lighter deal because of the injury and makes a midseason return or whatever it is. Maybe left guard is where Liam can slide in, and then you figure out what you're doing with Robert Hunt. He's probably going to command a significant salary. So if you want to bring him back, who I think will be somewhat of a priority for this team if they can, then if not, then Liam could possibly slide in at right guard too.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Dude, what's going on with Danny Crossman? Like, why is he still here?
This is what happened last year too, where everyone was expecting it to come down, and then it just did not. And weeks and weeks went by, and everyone just kind of figured, okay, I guess he's staying. And then you come down to they're returning to the field for the offseason organized activities, and Danny Crossman is retained. So this is interesting. We're a week out, so there haven't been any coaching staff changes. Last year, it occurred after the Dolphins were eliminated on a Sunday 1 p.m. game. The first wave of moves occurred on the Thursday that followed. So based on that timeline, something should have happened already. Just based on Mike McDaniel's timeline of, okay, the first thing he does is he does all his exit interviews with his players. Then he decompresses, figures out where he is, has talks with the assistant coaches. And then you notice, okay, Josh Boyer and a few others went down last year, 4 days out. And now it's been more than a week. It was Saturday of last week, and so still nothing. So it is intriguing. I know Danny Crossman in his last interview, he sort of pegged the kickoff return and punt return averages that ranked highly for the Dolphins before the long kickoff return against the Baltimore Ravens in Week 17, and then and the punt return average before the touchdown that they gave up against Buffalo. But those things still happened and really turned those two games sideways. The Ravens game, it was going to be really hard to come back after that one. And the Buffalo game, obviously you're leading the fourth quarter at home, and then that one goes awry from that point. So those were big deals. He did have a good season out of Jason Sanders. Bailey was up and down, had his moments, but not great as a punter. And then Braxton Berrios is a solid return guy if I'm just analyzing all the different aspects. But the key thing is probably those returns, the coverage units. And that really they failed this team late in the year. Granted, there were a lot of injuries that occurred, slid different guys into whether it's safeties and linebackers that were big special teamers having to play defense. So those units were altered heavily. Maybe Mike McDaniel's looking at that as something as a saving grace for Crossman, but yes, still no movement there.
Yeah, and for that guy asking on Vic Fangio's gonna. It's up to Vic Fangio if he wants to come back. From what I heard, they're gonna talk to all the coaches this week. They'll get all that hammered out by all of this week. So I would expect Vic Fangio to come back. I don't expect him to leave. Although knowing that Phillips and Chubb are going to be out for a bit, and if he doesn't like the way McDaniel was coaching, then maybe he could decide, yeah, you know what, it's time for me to turn it in. But he's getting $4.5 million. I just have a hard time seeing him walk away from that.
Yeah, people don't just walk away from that, but yeah, there's other factors like you said. If he doesn't like the way the defense is looking, now I think there's rules against like a lateral move, but I mean the Eagles' defensive coordinator job has opened up. So, but I think if he's here, then Dolphins don't have to worry about that. I'd have to look into it to be sure, right? Yeah. But yeah, so it'd be tough to just walk away from $4 million. But Yeah, there are some factors that may make him say, "Boy, I'm just sick of this thing." It was a lot nicer when I was taking that sabbatical last year, and I didn't have to deal with figuring out who my pass rushers are going to be on a week's notice, and Jalen Ramsey on me all the time about not allowing him to follow a top receiver, which probably is an adjustment he should have made more often. So that part is probably on him. And also another thing I was thinking of is he doesn't end up very involved in the discussions for adding a player on the defensive side. Like every Thursday, whenever we asked him, okay, so if they added, let's say like the most recent examples, Justin Houston and Bruce Irvin, what were your conversations like with Chris Greer over them? And he would say, I was no part of that. I wasn't involved. Chris just decided. And so
I'm going to call bullshit on that.
Okay.
Okay. He does approve. I'm not saying he approved the old men that came in lately, but he approves. They ask him about players they bring in. Yes, they do. They do ask him. Now, Bruce Irvin and Justin Houston at the end of this, dude, that was for 1 week. Whatever is out there, they had to just sign whatever was out there. So that part, yeah, I could see him not having a lot of input because whatever is out there, you're getting the dregs of the NFL left over for 1 week. So he couldn't get too picky. But before that, I can tell you that they do run it by him. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were other examples earlier in the season. I can't recall what it was exactly, but where we heard him say that, and it seemed like just every time. I think like Melvin Ingram is another one, but he was also sort of end of the year, pick him up type of guy. Where at least what he said inclined you to believe he wasn't as involved. But I mean, he's got to be at some level.
That might be true on the last couple of pickups of the old men. I can see that because at that point it's like, Chris, find whatever you can find. You know what we run, and that there isn't at this point. There can't be too much discussion of, oh no, I want this guy, that guy, this. There can't be much. But earlier in the season, and in the offseason, the draft, and all that, he's well informed of what they're doing.
Right, the Cam Smith pick. Yeah, I mean, he's They're not just picking Cam Smith without checking with Vic Fangio if he can fit into the system.
Of course, dude. Yes. So I know that he approves stuff for sure. That I can tell you. I know for a fact. Now, he might have been telling you the truth at the end. That I can see that because what's left at the end of a season? There's nothing. All right. What do you got going on the Sentinel so folks can check you out, my friend?
All right, big cap breakdown that I'm trying to finalize here once I get off. So figuring out all the moves, some of which we've discussed that Dolphins can do, what may be more inclined for them to do as they operate right now, present day, $52 million over the cap, but that number can easily be flipped around and get this team flexible again, and then probably just roll out a couple of. Some of the leftover interviews I did on Lacquer Cleanout Day, players lower on the roster, and their situation going into next year. One of which Anthony Schwartz, a local kid that was signed to a futures contract, so I'll probably run that one this week.
Dude, you need to do a story on Tanner Connor and Braylon.
Oh, yes, you mentioned this.
Yeah, but both Tanner Connor and Braylon Sanders, those two guys went 4 years of fratting in college. And now they're going to their third year of fratting on an NFL team. Those guys are my heroes. Okay, my heroes. All right, semi-hero. The other one is the guy that just signed with the University of Miami for his 9th year eligibility. That's how I want to go after a degree. 9 years just hanging out in college, forever. That's life right there. That guy. 9 years, he must have like 87 degrees at this point. Freaking awesome.
My first year of college, that song by this, I think he was a one-hit wonder. This guy, Asher Roth, "I Love College," came out, and I think Cam McCormick for UM is the prototype of that. That guy loves college to the utmost. He never wants to leave. So 9 years. Hey, credit to him. I mean, that is half the lifetime of the incoming freshman class. 9 years.
Yeah. No, the guy's going to graduate and then just become a teacher. He'll just become a professor because he's got to have like a double master's or some shit like that. I don't even know if that exists, but he's probably got a double master's at this. He's probably teaching the teachers to teach the kids. Probably what McCormick is doing, at this point. So you got to do a story on Braylon Sanders and Tanner Connor. These guys are about to ride their third year of the gravy train in the NFL. That, my friend, is
that McCormick at UM. He's probably got graduate assistants that coach him that are younger than him. and there's probably 5-year NFL veterans that are younger than him at this point.
McCormick is getting an AARP card when he's done. That's how long he's been in college, okay? By the way, I got to let you go with this. Tua gets his contract this offseason, doesn't he?
Well, and here's another thing with the cap is just
cap. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's just it would be beneficial for this year's cap situation if you go ahead and do that. So maybe now, hopefully they can find a number that the Dolphins like as far as the long-term deal, so they're not tied to him at a huge number that right now he hasn't performed to the level of deserving the $50 million that we've seen some other teams dish out. So if it's in the next tier, then sure, a tier, one tier or two below it. If it's in the lower to mid 40s, then you might as well go for it because you're in a win now mode anyway.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I believe he will get his contract, and it'll be probably somewhere in the 45 to 50 range. And people will end up complaining because they'll pay him, and then it's kind of a foreshadowing what's coming. Oh, well, he'll become and he'll turn the corner and he'll win, and none of you will complain about his money later on and all that kind of crap. It's kind of that type.
It's only going to be bigger contracts. They get dished out later. So yes, in a few years, if Tua does pan out and really if he continues to just produce at the numbers that he already is putting up, but just better in late game scenarios, handling pressure against the top teams, all those things, then if it's a reasonable number like that, you'll look at it years down the road and say, oh, well, the Dolphins got off pretty well. But he's got to put all that together too. Yeah.
It'll help if he has a coach that actually knows what the hell he's doing to kind of help set him up. But, we'll see if McDaniel can figure it out this coming season, because if not, the heat's going to turn up big time on him by the end of next season if he doesn't figure it out. All right, follow him on Twitter at David Furones _, and of course, catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. David, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you immensely.
Sure. Thank you.
You got it. Welton Rayom, proud sponsor of our program. I'm excited for them. They're about to get some new offices. Yeah, baby. 954-966-4646. Bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. Save this number, okay? You may not need it now, but some pipe might break, and all of a sudden you got water damage. Before you call the insurance companies, you call Welton Rayom. They have their own adjusters. They will straighten out those insurance companies like they did for us. That Progressive was way out of line, and Welton Rayom straightened them out in a big-time way. So call them. You don't call the insurance companies. You call Welton Rayom first. They will call the insurance company for you, and when the insurance company is getting the call immediately from a lawyer and not from you and me, brothers and sisters, you get their attention right away, because they know that the person on the other side of that line knows all the laws and all the loopholes, something you and I are not well versed in. That's why they smoke us. That's why they run circles around us, because we're big dummies. We don't know all the laws, all the loopholes. They do. But when they're dealing with Welton Rayom, they're at a disadvantage. And that's what you want. You want to put the insurance companies at a disadvantage. Welton Rayom will do that. You and I call, they're at the advantage, and we're at the disadvantage because we don't have our tackles, Welt and Rayom, the left and right tackle that you need. Consultation is completely free. Something happened to you a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. Maybe statute of limitations hasn't run out. You don't even know if you have a case. Call Welt and Rayom. Ask for Jeff Welt right now. 954-966-4646.
This has been another session of the Welton Rayom Miami Dolphins Report with David Furones. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
For an MVP. We always find William Quigley because he is the ultimate MVP, Cutter's Edge Pro. And I want you, by the way, to go check out their Instagram page because you can see a lot of the work there. You might even see my house there. And they even put a putting green and everything. And we got the artificial turf, which my dogs absolutely love it, man. It is awesome. They never bring in any dirt, any mud, nothing. And by the way, you know who's more happy about that than I am? The wife. Because she's the one that's usually cleaning the floors. So no paws, no nothing. It's a beautiful thing. Artificial turf and so easy to maintain. Call my friends at Cutter's Edge Pro. 954-472-0622. Let me give you our Cutter's Edge Pro MVP of the night.
Who's last night's MVP? For your complete landscape solutions anywhere in South Florida, there's only one MVP. CuttersEdgePro.com. Here's our CuttersEdgePro.com MVP of the night.
I'm going to go with something that it kind of helped us out with the Miami Heat. And I'm going to go with Mr. Stolarz in goal. Why? You know, because normally you would pick Bob, right? You would go, well, I'm gonna pick Bob, right? Because Bob is your number one goalie and all that, and he's supposed to come up big in certain moments and that kind of stuff. But I gotta tell you something. My man Stolarz, I hope I'm pronouncing it the right way. He has been an absolute stud this offseason, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of Kendall Lamb at left tackle. Why? Because every time Stolarz, well, not every time, but most of the time when Anthony has had an opportunity, he has shined. He has done a really good job. He's got a 917 save percentage. He is 7-4-2 overall. So you're winning more than you're losing with Anthony. Yesterday, Stolarz had 26 saves. Guy only allowed one goal last night. He has been, I got to tell you, man, you talk about a general manager that knows how to get it done. The Panthers have that. Okay? And Anthony Stolarz, I got to give him a little love because we always pick the stars. And they're usually the ones. I can pick Sam Bennett last night, right? 3 assists last night. Terrific game. Was it Verhaeghe and Kachuk? Each had a goal and an assist last night. But Stolarz is the guy that's coming in. And if he's not consistent, then that puts Bob at risk that now you got to play Bob more. And then Bob's going to be worn out more by the time you get to the playoffs. And you don't want that. And whenever Teron Armstead could not go, the fact that Kendall Lamb was able to step in and you really didn't miss much, that's where I got to give Anthony a little love. He steps in, you're not missing a ton, and he has played well. Anthony Stolarz is my Cutter's Edge MVP of the night.
The MVP of the night is brought to you by CuttersEdgePro.com. Servicing HOAs, condominiums, townhomes, commercial properties, corporate parks, and malls throughout South Florida. CuttersEdgePro.com, providing South Florida MVP performance every day of the year.
Hi, Giovanni says, Big O, Coach Danny Crossman, haven't you heard? He has certain pictures and recordings of folks in higher places in the Finns organization. You're a bad man. He must. Oh, man. And then he says, Stolars is a gorilla in that net. Dude covers a lot. He's been terrific, man. He's been terrific. That's why I want to give him, a little props here. Pat in Nashville says, if Tom Olivedati took over special teams, it would be called special needs teams. That's bad. That is bad. Jarvis Landry, that's what we need here. Not. Let's see. But I do know what you're saying. Short yardage, move the chains type of thing. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I just would like somebody that has a little bit more speed to the game. So just in case has the opportunity to break it. Cosa Nostra says, why doesn't YouTube notify me when the Big O Show comes on? Just found it an hour behind. What you can do is hit the notification bell. Okay. You want to subscribe. You want to hit the like button every time. You want to watch for as long as you can, because God bless all of you out there. And I know you mean well. Like when you just open it up and hit the like button and leave, that doesn't really help us because you kind of kill the average. Okay. So what you really want to do is when you turn it on, you want to leave it on and you want to watch for as long as you can. That's kind of the idea, So that's what helps us, watching a long time. That's what really does the trick. Plus hitting the like button, hit the notification bell, subscribe, all of those kind of things. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. And of course, you can always make a Bitcoin donation. And with the dip going on right now, it is a beautiful time to, make me extremely happy with a Bitcoin donation. By the way, speaking of Bitcoin, how low can it go? It's still stuck at 39,000. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Like it. It's able to get a little more Van Archain. As Van Archain came down to the 5.5 cent area. Is it still there or has it climbed a little bit? Let's see. Where is Van Archain? 5.7 now. So just a little bit. I think I got it at 5.6. Kryptonite is down under 7 cents at 6.8. That's pretty cool. Neutron down to $1.10. Very manageable. Pendle has been strong as hell. Pendle it's still over $2 at 2.05. Remember when we told you about Pendle at $1.34? Even in this dip, it doesn't even come close to where we told you at the beginning of it at $1.34. How crazy is that, man? That is amazing. But those of you newbies out there that just got into it recently, you got an opportunity to lower your price and pick up some more Bitcoin. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, there we go. All right. Just sorry about that. Just taking a shot at somebody on Twitter. Let's see what else do we have going on. I don't know, Dolphins wise. I tried to find some stuff, but there just wasn't anything. If you guys have any questions, Dolphins wise, you can send them in, but I didn't see any earth-shattering news on the Dolphins side, to be quite honest. There is no Dolphins news, period. End of story. Nothing whatsoever. Let me give you a little music and entertainment. Let's go with birthdays today, first and foremost. Let's see. Mariska Hargitay or Haggerty. I don't know. How's it pronounced? Hargitay Haggerty. I'm not sure. She is 60 years old today. Tiffany Amber Thiessen. Although there's no Amber here, it just says Tiffany Thiessen. She is 50 years old. Drea Michelle. That is one reality star that I do know. She is 39. What else? Arjen Robben, soccer player, futbolista, is 40 years old. Pop singer Rachel Crow is 26. Journalist Nora O'Donnell is 50 years old. Josko Jardiol, soccer player, is 22 years old. Richard Dean Anderson, actor, is 74 years old today. And pilot Chelsea Sullenberger, just because they made that movie is the only reason why I know Sully. And he is celebrating his 73rd birthday today. We go with music history. Why? What happened on January 23rd, 1977? Pink Floyd started a world tour in support of their album Animals, which they also released on this day. In 1990, Leonard Skinner guitarist Alan Collins died of pneumonia after being ill for several months. The rocker was a founding member of the band who co-wrote many of their hits, including Freebird. Collins survived the 1977 plane crash that killed two of his bandmates. A few years later, he drove drunk and got into an accident that killed his girlfriend and left him paralyzed from the waist down. I mean, that band, Leonard Skinner, and the people that were in it, the worst luck in the world. I remember also when I was young, and I went to go see the Rosington Collins Band, too, at the same time with Alan Collins. In 2000, Santana started a three-week run at number one on the album charts with Supernatural. The record, which spent 9 weeks at number one, went on to win 8 Grammys. In 76, David Bowie released his 10th album, Station to Station, the vehicle for his character, the Thin White Duke. In 78, original Chicago guitarist Terry Kath accidentally killed himself. He was cleaning his gun and told the person he was with, "Don't worry, it's not loaded." Thinking that was the case, he held it to his head and pulled the trigger. He was killed instantly. Oops. And that's what happened today in music historia. All right. There you go. All righty. What else do we have? Taylor Swift named one of her cats Olivia Benson after Haggerty. Oh, really? Did not know that. But I would not know a lot of Taylor Swift stuff. So that is a nugget. Big O, what tight end do you see Miami getting next season? My brother, I have not looked into it because I don't know exactly who are the free agents. Okay. I know they don't have a 3rd round and a 4th round pick too, right? So they have a 1st, a 2nd, and then they have to wait to the 5th in order to get a tight end. So if they don't get it in the 1st or 2nd, then we'll see what happens. That's why I'm thinking more along the lines of free agency, because it's hard to pick up like what Laporta's done this year. Man, That's a lot to ask for a rookie to go in there and play like that. It's pretty special. That's the guy Miami wanted badly. But they just could not make it happen, unfortunately. Ragin says Landry has sure hands and he's clutch, perfect for a possession receiver. We have more than enough speed. True. But I think you got to get somebody younger at this point. Best game of Stolar's this year, I feel. Oh, he was terrific. He's been terrific all year. It's just, it's like a backup goaltender. Last year, dude, was Line like the fourth stringer, I want to say? And it took a fourth stringer to get hot to just get you into the playoffs. Then the rest is history, and then things started to come together. But it's a real comfort zone that the guy backing up Bob can play as consistent as Anthony has, dude. It's studly. Really is. Miles Deep says, just tuned in late. My apologies. Well, we came on late, bro. We came on after 12 today. 12, whatever, 20 or something like that. I think we came on. So, yeah, and I apologize, but I had to take this doctor's appointment because I got to get myself checked out before the operation on the 6th. So, and for those of you that don't know, I'm having my foot operated. My right foot, I've got like these, this calcium buildup, and there's these two peaks that I've built up, and the two peaks are 2 points, and it's stabbing one of my tendons that leads to my toes. So it's like, stabbing it like that, So it hurts specifically when I walk. When I'm sitting like now, I'm good. But when I walk, I'll have some discomfort and pain. They gave me a cortisone shot, so it's alleviated some of that pain right now. But as you all know, that shit doesn't last long. That's just a Band-Aid. So they gotta go in and shave all that off, so I don't have that pain anymore. And then they're gonna shave off another spur that I have in the back of my heel, which is putting my Achilles at risk. Doc says I'm like 5 times more likely to tear my Achilles. So we're going to just eliminate that too at the same time. So my ass will be in a boot for like 6 weeks. So I'll be looking like a goofball walking around with a boot. But what can I tell you? I got to get the boot, So there you go. Let's see. Marissa Haggerty is Jane Mansfield's daughter and was in the back seat of the car during her fatal accident. Oh, I didn't know I knew she was Mansfield's daughter. I knew that. I did not know that she was in the car during her mother's death. Wow. That's some shit to live with. God. That's rough, dude. And a member of, yes, I saw the Rosington Collins band live back in, God, was this 82, I want to say? I saw the Rosington Collins band. I want to say, something like that. Sportatorium, was it? Yeah, I think it was a Sportatorium. I want to say. Yeah. Dalton Schultz is a free agent. Kind of surprising Miami didn't make a run at him last year. We shall see, because they're going to add a tight end. Mark my words. Mark my words. Christian Wilkins will price himself out. They will find a tight end. Okay? They have to find a tight end. So, I know only because of an article about a Scottish fold cat. Taylor Swift's cat has its own Wikipedia page and a net worth of $97 million. Kid you not. Anything with Taylor Swift is worth money. Big O, can you share your foot's doctor's name, please? Shit. He's new. I gotta ask my wife. Do me a favor, Clubber23, because I just met those guys. The foot thing, because obviously this just came up. Like I had this big fat ass pain in my foot. I'm like, yo, this is brutal. I can't stand, and so I just met them just last week, I think it was. And so we were able to set up the it's funny, my surgery is from somebody that dropped out, because if not, I would have had to have waited like a couple months. And so somebody dropped out on February 6th. So I was able to jump in that spot. Today, they called me yesterday, late afternoon, because I have to get stuff checked out for the operation. And so they had an appointment for me in a couple of weeks. And my wife's like, hey, if anything opens up, call us, whatever. So they called us late afternoon yesterday and say, hey, we got something tomorrow morning at 9:30. Can you be here? And I'm like, yeah, Luckily, Sean and I run this thing, so we can do the show at whatever time we want and move it and all that. I'm not tied to anybody. But yeah, do me a favor, Clubber. I have a Twitter account, Big O Show. Please send me a DM there, okay? And I'll give you the name in the afternoon, a little while when I talk to my wife, because I don't really know their names. It's a young guy, and it's probably early 40s, something like that. A really young guy, late 30s. And so, I'll give you the name, and then you could go check it out yourself. I hope you don't have what I have, because that's Jesus Christ, dude. It is just bothersome. It just is. It's bothersome. It gets in the way of everything. It's weird, man. Ray says, look at the bright side of the Kyle Lowry era. While the contract was bad, at least Miami didn't draft Tyrese Maxey, because it would have been more painful knowing we gave Maxey away for nothing. Okay. Honestly, a core Jaime, Bam, and Terry isn't terrible post Jimmy. And if you keep Caleb and Jovic is developing, and you have a first-round pick this year, and maybe that turns into another player, and I'm with you, dude. I'm at a point where if you're not really getting a superstar, then screw it, man. Stay on this course. Jaime might turn into that star. I'm starting to think he has star quality to him, not just a really good player. Like, I'm thinking like this guy has lead dog in him. Maybe some of you are thinking the same thing. He's far from it. You know what I'm saying? But he's a player. That already. Now, is he a star? I think he has star in him. I really do. Maybe not superstar, but all-star caliber type player. I think Jaquez can be that guy, dude. So we'll see. Question for Sean and O. The Rock appointed to UFC and WWE board of directors. What does that mean for WWE and UFC? Well, that means that he wields a lot of power and influence in what direction they go in, but it doesn't mean that he is going to run the show. It just kind of means that he will help in leading them in whatever direction they want to go in. And I think personally for me, listen, I don't know shit compared to the guy that's about to talk. Okay. But at least from an outsider's point of view, I think it's a great PR move, because The Rock has an impeccable, stature. And so overall, this is a guy that understands the biz, knows promotion. So why not have a guy like that being the lead for your organization? Plus, you'll never have the troubles that you've had in the past with the other people that have led at times with some of the, issues and all that kind of stuff. So professionally, I think this is a great PR move. And at the same time, I think it helps in the guidance for them overall. Sean, add the substance now.
100% a PR move, a smart PR move to get probably one of the biggest known commodities outside of either of their sports that has been involved in the sports entertainment industry. And the other thing that it brings into play, which kind of got left out, is they gave The Rock his name back. The Rock now owns The Rock. So now he's now Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and he can go back and he can bring in there, which is very important since he's going to be headlining some pay-per-views coming up where he has said that he's going to be sitting at the head of the table. Nobody knew it meant the board table, but apparently he's going to be sitting at the head of the board table there. But the one thing, again, he's just a board member. It takes the whole board to agree. And it's not like he's coming in and he's making, groundbreaking decisions and all that. But now you have a guy that,
because he's the director, he'll have an influence. But
right, but yeah, he's on the board. But also Vince McMahon's on the board. I mean, when it's a bunch of guys. It's made up of 4 UFC and 3 WWE officials. It's Tony Khan, it's Vince McMahon, and now Dwayne Johnson on the board of directors for WWE side. And then it's Dana. I forgot who the other ones are on the UFC side. But the UFC side outnumbers the WWE side on the TKO board 4-3. So they'll be making more of the decisions for the WWE going forward. And also announced today, and I don't know, hopefully you weren't going to cover it. I don't know if you saw this, but WWE Raw signed a 10-year, $5 billion streaming deal with Netflix. Now, Netflix at the 5-year mark can cancel, or they can extend for another 10 years, which would make it a 20-year contract for WWE on Raw. And that just goes to show you that they're looking at different options of streaming, because probably 3-4 years ago, Raw would not be going to Netflix. Raw would be on network TV because they'd be worrying about eyes on it.
Right.
And now they're going to streaming because, again, Netflix wants eyes on the prize, and that's
remember, the eyes are going to platforms because the regular stuff is dying as it is.
Yeah.
So everything is growing in other ways, and then the pandemic has really shown these platforms that they better have sports on their menu, because if there are writers and actor strikes or pandemics, all of a sudden now all that shit goes away, and then you don't have any programming. But the one thing that did stay was sports and wrestling, right? Wrestling.
Wrestling was back a month later in the empty buildings. But the one thing that's always been said about wrestling was that, again, free TV was always the way to go. This breaks that up as far as, because now when you look at what they have, SmackDown's going to be on USA Network. CW has got WWE NXT, and now Netflix will have WWE Raw. So they've gone totally away from the network side. They're still on cable TV, but ultimately I see that moving as well. And then they also sold their libraries to the international audience. That's part of the deal. But USA, in the US, it will stay on Peacock for right now. I don't know how long that deal is still there. But The Rock just puts a name that people, an influenced name, because people listen to him. A couple years ago, people were asking him to run for president, and people were asking him to vote for him. They trust him, and it's a name that you can trust when you look at Dana White, Vince McMahon, and some other people on the board. And again, their stock prices have been dropping. TKO stock prices, their money is going up at their live events, but their stock prices have been going down. So does this play into that, knowing you have a trusted name? I don't know. But again, it's more of a ploy because now you have a name on the board that maybe you trust.
And your fan base is so rabid and so loyal that you can go to Netflix and they'll still follow you there. And that's the cool thing for wrestling, that it's such a powerhouse that it can do shit like that now. It's impressive.
Yeah, and the one thing too that Netflix is the only one that really isn't partnered with anybody, because you can go to, like, for instance, for me, if you get Xfinity, you get Peacock for free.
Right.
You know, if you get Amazon Prime, you get Prime Video usually as part of the deal. They just recently did something with Paramount. I forgot who's with Paramount, but if you purchase something, you can. Who is it?
NBC's Peacock. Paramount is
Paramount CBS. Paramount is CBS.
Yes.
Yeah,
CBS.
but there's something else now to where when you order something, I can't remember what it was, but you can get Paramount for free. Netflix is not like that, so that's why it was kind of. And again, they put a lot of money up front, so we'll see. But it's not one of those that you can get for, you know, free. Like with me with T-Mobile, I get Apple TV. I get the MLS Apple TV thing for free. You know what I'm saying? Like when the season starts. Same with baseball. I get that for free. So it's odd to me that Netflix would throw so much money at it without maybe there's a partner coming down. Because again, this doesn't start till 2025.
They need the programming, dude. That's
Yeah.
part of it. That all Amazon, Apple, Netflix. Netflix has that racing stuff. They have sports already. So that's kind of what they're doing. They're just expanding is what they're doing, because they all know Amazon, Apple, everybody knows you better have sports on your platforms, because those are the best. Those are the best audiences. The biggest audiences overall in general are going to be all the sporting events that you're going to end up carrying. That's why you can catch sporting events now on platforms, because these platforms know that sports is money, dude. It's eyes. And then that will allow Netflix to then promote other things on their platform during those shows too at the same time. So stuff that crosses over, they will get to promote it to a large audience now on that wrestling platform. So that's
the other thing that's cool. Very interesting to me that somebody brought up was, do they go back to the Attitude Era type content, because there's not really a filter right now on Netflix.
Right,
you're on a streaming now. Do they go back to that? It'll be interesting to see what they do. They get edgier.
Yeah. Powerhouse shit, man. Powerhouse stuff from wrestling just continues to grow. I never imagined that it would be this monstrous, but I'll never doubt its impact. That's the one thing that I'll never doubt. Even though I'm not a wrestling guy, I will respect the power that it has, dude, and the fan base that it has. It has an amazing fan base. Absolutely awesome. What else do we have? I hope the Dolphins put a no Madden cover clause in Tua McDaniel and Hill's contract. Well, that would not, it's not really up to them, but anyway, time to get Tua signed, Miami. That's going to end up happening. If the Heat would have drafted Tyrese Maxey, they would have not had a problem at point guard and probably would have never gone after Kyle Lowry. Maybe. Frankie Fresco is mentioning Nick Khan. Is that the name you were missing? I guess.
I think I might have called him Tony Khan. I think I might have said Tony, but I meant Nick Khan.
Okay.
And then he also asked about the thing still being on Peacock. I believe it's still going to stay on Peacock in the U.S. Internationally now, it will be on Netflix.
Okay. Gordon says Paramount is paired with Showtime. It's Showtime. Pat says Netflix is one of the only streamers that makes a profit. Most don't. That is one reason why they are all merging. Everybody knows you as the crypto wrestler. Well, hey, what can I tell you? You know, when you have a skill, Frankie, you got to display it. And we have that skill set here. We just know wrestling like nobody does. You know, it's just it's insight we bring you that nobody else can. And we're proud to do that for you guys on a consistent basis, breaking down wrestling like no one can. That is us right there. That's what I can tell you. All righty. What the hell is that? Oh, okay. I was wondering what was that note I made on my paper there. Okay, looks like we are done, folks. We are Truman. Appreciate all of you out there as always. We thank Ira Winderman, Cam Wolf, Manny Navarro, and David Furones. If you missed any of those, you can rewind. I know my man Sean will break it all down and we'll put it all out there for you guys. I did not do a ton of preparation today because of the whole thing with the doctor's appointment. So I apologize. Don't have a ton. There really isn't. Am I missing anything Dolphins-wise? Nothing, right? I didn't see anything that was noteworthy. It was anything. I didn't see anything. So I don't really think I'm leaving anything out overall. Plus, we got you 4 great insiders with a bunch of stuff. By the way, if you missed our Inter-Miami conversation with Michelle Kaufman, it's already on the platform. She joined us yesterday, and that was posted yesterday, so you can go check it out if you missed that. And obviously, there was a lot of things, bunch of stuff we talked about yesterday on the Dolphins side. Today wasn't so Dolphin-centric because there just wasn't a lot to do. Okay? And again, not a financial advisor, but I would tell you that this is a chance of a lifetime for you right now in the crypto market, because the next time it moves, it's going to explode. And you're going to be fortunate, and you're going to be happy you took advantage of the dip. Not a financial advisor. Do your own homework. Yes, sir, Sean.
Terry Rozier, he's going to have to change his number when he comes to the Miami Heat, just so you know.
Oh, what was his number?
3.
Don't even. Huh?
3.
Oh, yeah, he's a Wade guy.
Yeah, he's a Wade guy. Yeah, he's taking the number 2.
Okay. All right.
I would rather
That's fine.
take the number 4. I would rather take number 4 so it could be one better than Wade.
Number 2. I want to say it was Rory Sparrow.
Yeah, 4 was Cycli, right?
Yeah, Cycli was here we go. Rory Sparrow Heat.
And just to let you know,
I might be wrong. You know, I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect.
I did this just so you can see how the news day is going in sports today.
Right, exactly. Rory Sparrow, the man that hit the shot against the Los Angeles Clippers to win the first game for the Miami Heat. And what do you know? My memory of the inaugural season is still there. He was number 2. Not bad. Not bad. So we didn't retire that one. Okay? Number 2 has not been retired. So Terry Rozier has an opportunity to retire it by taking us to the title this year and winning it all. So I didn't know that. I don't keep up with Terry Rozier's career, like really know his number. You know, I know the player and all that, but I don't remember his number whatsoever. So you got me there, but I didn't know it was 3. And
not only that, he's got to change his Twitter handle too.
2. That's right.
He's 2_Rose3 right now. You have to change it, buddy.
How many of you Heat fans out there thought Rory Sparrow right away at number 2? How many of you? Come on, be honest. Not too many, huh?
No.
Not too many.
Likely.
I still have the VHS tape. I was a season ticket holder for the first 4 years of the Miami Heat before I got into this business. Once I got in the business, I never renewed my seats. And the first year, they lost their first 16 games. They won the 17th game on the road against the Clippers. And Rory Sparrow, number 2, hit a jumper off the elbow to win that game. And when they won that game to go 1-16 and avoid the record, I think they avoided the worst start ever. Whatever it was worse than 0-16. Anyway, the Miami Heat then did something very cool back in those days. They sent every season ticket holder a copy of the game on VHS. You know, there was no DVDs back then and all that. It was VHS. So back then, that was like a really cool thing to do. So all of us had a copy of, because this is 1988, man. You know what I'm saying? It's still, not everybody had a VHS and recording and all that kind of stuff. So they sent you the video professionally done and everything and all that. And it was cool. It was cool. I still have the tape somewhere. It's somewhere, but I have it still. I wonder if that's a collector's item. Yes, sir.
Half the chat's asking, what is a VHS tape? I'm just kidding. They're not. But hey, Rozier has a chance to might go down as the greatest number 2 in Heat history.
Yeah.
Besides Rory Sparrow, you've got Keith Askins, which some were saying in the chat.
I was going to say
Wayne Ellington, and most recently, Gabe Vincent.
Yeah.
Sorry, I pushed my volume down. I don't know if everybody heard that. But it was Rory Sparrow, Keith Askins, Joe Johnson, Wayne Ellington, and the great Gabe Vincent.
Well, one guy is close to my heart, and that's Keith Askins. Love Keith Askins, bro. That is one of my underrated favorite Heat players. I'm not telling you he's my favorite, but he's one of my favorites. Freaking love Keith Askins, dude. Cool as hell, by the way. Besides being, a heck of a dude, super cool. And he turned himself into a really nice role player that could defend the shit out of people and can stroke the three. I used to call him the rifleman. I know they used to call the guy from the Pacers the rifleman. But what's his name now? I'm forgetting his name. A little bit overweight, but he could shoot. It was good. With a P. Persons, something like that. I forgot anyway. So Keith just turned himself into, a really nice role player, and then became obviously a figure with the Heat and coaching and scouting and all that kind of stuff. And just an all around, just 100% human being. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a big Chuck Persons. That's it. Thank you. Chuck Persons. Mark Smith goes to the real rifleman, Mark Connors. Chuck Connors. Chuck Persons. Yes. You got to add the S because it was Persons. But yes, that was the dude. That was called the rifleman. Yes, sir, Sean. Is your mic on?
It is now.
Oh, it is now. Okay. Yes.
So Nick Khan, I don't know if anybody, I didn't realize, I guess apparently he was a football agent before he went to WWE.
Okay.
He came out today and said that Paul Levesque, which is Triple H, introduced me to WWE when I was an agent. When Tim Tebow got cut by the Patriots, he called me about him wrestling the Big Show at WrestleMania.
Wow.
They had a secret meeting, but ultimately it didn't happen. And if I'm not mistaken, it was either that year or a year after. That's when Big Show fought Floyd Mayweather.
Okay. Tim Tebow would have been a hell of a draw.
Well, exactly. Especially at that time.
Yeah, dude. Are you kidding me?
And I believe that's when he went to the baseball route, right? Right after the Patriots.
Yeah. And that's where he revived a kid having a seizure. I'm not kidding, by the way.
By touching him.
You saw that video, right?
Yes,
After we talked about this in the past. If you've never watched that video, you guys need to go see it. Tim Tebow is playing for the Mets minor league team. Some kid's having a seizure in the stands. Tim Tebow goes over there and puts his hand on the kid, and the kid stops having the seizure. That's all I need to know. Okay? Just don't F with Tim Tebow. Leave him alone, okay? Leave the man alone. Okay? There's something special in that dude. I don't know what it is, but don't mess with it. That's all I'm saying. And I don't mean it like don't mess with like a fight thing. That's a treasure there. Leave him alone, okay? That's all I'm saying. There's something there, okay? The Lord blessed that dude somehow, some way. He's got something on him. There's a halo. We don't see it. I don't know what it is. He's better than you and me. Just admit it. That's all. I'm willing to admit it. Most of you just got to, come to the realization that you might be a great human being. He's just greater. That's all. Builds hospitals, circumcises kids, brings people back from seizures. I mean, there's only one Tim Tebow, and there's the power of Tebow, and I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, I believe in that dude. Not as a quarterback. I'm just saying everything else. Brett Dodger says, Big O, come on, it's wrestling, not wrestling. Mark says, I miss the old days when at least one Dolphins coach would snort coke off his desk and create a news story. Yeah, dude. Come on. Hose and hoses. Right? That's exactly what we want. The power of the Lord. It's there. It's in Tim Tebow. I'm telling you, go to YouTube and you'll see it. If you don't believe me, go to YouTube. And when you watch that, if you want to keep doubting Tim Tebow, you go ahead and do that. I'm not doubting that guy. That's all I can tell you. Okay? Tebow made me a Jets fan for a year in the Chad Henne era. Some folks are just born with a stroke of good things in their lives. He's just, I can't answer it, but I can't explain it. There are things in life that you can't explain. Like my wart story that I told you guys about. Can't explain that shit. And Tim Tebow's a guy you can't explain. That's all. Whether you want to admit it or not, there's something about that dude. I don't know what it is, but that guy up there, he did something. Can't explain it. Won't explain it. It's kind of like when I walked into Notre Dame, and it's so cool that they're going to open up Notre Dame like in December of this year. So if you want to finally, go to Paris and you want to see Notre Dame, it should be open to the public again because the sphere, everything's been put in place, and they're kind of like finishing everything up, and all the things, all the details, in other words. And I don't know if any of you have ever been to Notre Dame, or maybe you've been to some kind of church that's kind of historic, and maybe you got the same thing. All I know is I've been to churches all over. Okay. I'm not really a religious person at all, which is kind of strange coming from a guy like me. Okay. But I've been to churches here in South Florida and different parts of the United States. And, when I walked into Notre Dame, I felt something and I couldn't explain it. I could not explain it. While I was walking around, there was just like a presence that you couldn't explain. It's just shit like that you cannot explain. And, it's just one of those things that just, it's there. It's there. There's got to be something. You know what I'm saying? Like I always tell people, I may not be the most religious person in the world, but I believe in the Lord, and I believe that there was a greater being, because the human body is too perfect. You know what I mean? And animals and the way everything that we've got, the plants and everything. And technically we were kind of created in a way where we really didn't have to make plastics and make all kinds of foods and all that. We're supposed to kind of just live right off the earth, and our systems and everything are built that way. Who does that? Who builds that? Obviously, there's got to be, a greater being. You know what I mean? Because it's just too perfect, everything that goes on. It's unexplainable. Yes, sir.
I didn't want to interrupt, but Adrian Griffin, does that name ring a bell to you?
Yes, they got rid of his ass. Yes.
Oh, all right, you saw that. All right. 30-13. He gone.
Yeah. Adrian Griffin was a former Milwaukee Bucks player also, not just, a coach. So he was a player. Yeah. Adrian Griffin. Wow. Okay. It is what it is, right? A church in the Sky Mountains of Great Spanish warrior Pelao. Weird feeling praying in the clouds on a warrior's mountain. Big O, can you explain the man, the myth, the legend? Who is Sean Stanley? Sean is just the great of the greats. So when you talk about the greats, they pale in comparison to Sean Stanley. That's how you explain who Sean Stanley is. So when you talk about the greats, you just like, okay, they're pretty good. Not quite Sean Stanley. So that's how I would describe it. There you go. Okay. Let's see. I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. In Italy, by the way, in France. In France. Okay, in Paris. The Notre Dame in Paris, sir. Not Spain, not Italy. Big O, I went to the top of the Bear Butte or Butte in South Dakota, was a holy mountain to the natives there. Something hits you that is palpable when you are up there. See what I mean? Yeah, it happens. There are a few places probably that you've been that there's just, you feel it and you can't explain it. And for a guy that is not religious at all, I felt it in Notre Dame. Only place I've ever felt it. I've never felt it anywhere else. Only place was that place right there. So just I was with my wife. We were walking. And I'm like, do you sense something? Do you feel something? Because like I feel it. I have the video. There could be, it could be on YouTube. It could be on, not YouTube. It could be on Twitter. If you put Big O Show in Notre Dame, maybe videos and pictures come out when I was there in Paris and took a ton of videos and pictures of it. So Pelayo Catholic King, Roman Catholic saints explore this image web. And Pelayo said, our hope is in Christ. This little mountain will be the salvation of Spain and the people. Rosendo says, faith is the answer. Brett says, same thing for me when I was inside Stonehenge in England. I'm not religious, but there was a magic to that place. Yeah, because there's too much shit that you can't explain in life. You know, like the old man that built Coral Castle. Like, you go there and you're like, okay, so this one dude moved all these rocks? Get the hell out of here, bro. Like, this rock alone is like 10 tons. Like, how, you know? And, you know, so it just, there are things that happen in life that you just can't explain, no matter what, you know? So, Giovanni says, I've traveled the world, seen a ton of cathedrals, Notre Dame to the Vatican a few times, you name it, etc. But I'll take the Indiana Jones approach. I am not the religious either. Stuff happens. Exactly. Yeah. And I've been to the Vatican. Yeah. The Vatican is that's an impressive place. It was that's a breathtaking place, is what I would tell you. Okay. But Notre Dame, man, wow. That shit rocked me, man. And again, non-religious. I don't go to church much unless it's a wedding or a funeral or something. I don't really go to church. I'm not that person. Believe, but I'm not really a practicer. And I felt it. So, you know, just things you can't explain sometimes in life. Anyway, appreciate all of you out there as always. We'll try to wrap it up again. We thank Cameron Wolf. We thank Manny Navarro, Ira Winderman, David Furones, And, of course, Sean Stanley, the man, the myth, the legend that knows how to get it done every single day. Thank you all out there. I appreciate you all out there for supporting us, hitting the like button, notification bell, sending in a super chat, or anytime you're listening, Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. Visit our amazing sponsors like KSDT CPAs or Acura Pembroke Pines or Caneswear. Got a lot of great sponsors. Hialeah Park. Get your $100. Get your $100 at Hialeah Park, baby, right now. The no regret first bet. Use that QR code right there. Remember, if you own a Hard Rock account already, do not use the same phone number or email. You've got to go to the Hialeah Park website or use that QR code and then sign up. Different email or different phone number that you use with the Hard Rock account so you can get your free $100 no regret first bet. Take advantage, man. Free $100. Can't beat that. Anyway, plus you might make it 200 or 300 or 1,000. You never know. You might get on a roll. It's a beautiful thing. All right. I love you all. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Same time. Same place. Oh, and at Top Gun. Same. No, I'm sorry. At KSDT CPA's offices. Same channel.